people, we've got to fight. Jean Petro, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, black people, we've got to fight. Zumbi, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, black people, we've got to fight. Yes, Santa, why you see us? Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, black people, we've got to fight. Bookman, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh,
we have to have the courage to construct our own reality. And that's what Garvey was talking about. Because he said he looked around, he didn't see what he thought should be there, and so what did he do? He didn't get depressed about it. He didn't get defeated about it. He said, I'm going to build the government that we need to have. Ooh, where do you get that kind of boldness from? So we got to go all the way back to Garvey, who said he would come again. He said he would be here with us, no matter how long it took. And I'm telling you that the way he comes back is in our work. Not honoring him in words, pomp and all of that stuff, but honoring him through doing what he did. How many of us have the courage to do that? The man took on the world for us and in our name. And then we come to Solidarité. And in this presentation of the paradigm, I'm going to make this like what it is we want to reach. So Solidarité is translated clear word in Dogana language. And I use it to mean that here we gain understanding. This is sight with understanding. And it is seeing beyond what just we think we see with this physical thing. It's seeing beyond that. And so we gain vision, because that's what vision is. With vision, you've got to be able to use the imagination informed by the African spirit. And Brother Amos, who I work very closely with, was a good friend of mine. He taught me, and he would talk about imagination. Image a nation. Do you see? But that's got to be part of vision. To be a visionary, you got to see beyond this box here. You got to see beyond the ma'afa. You got to see what is it that our people rightfully should have, and that's what Garvey did. Garvey had a vision.
New era, new transition. Greetings, this is Shakara, and it's been an honor serving you as director of gotkushTV. Over the past few years, we've brought you the pilot of the Black Root Economic Show, many seasons of Wordsmith, The Insight, and the ever popular Decipher. We have covered community events and even hosted a few of our own, including Blacktricity as a part of the official Ghana Beyond the Return roster. We also kept you company throughout lockdown with the Quarantine Convo. After a brief hiatus, we came back with our regular weekly interactive live show, Zivanai, keeping you up to date with current events around the black world, from UK to Senegal to Haiti and beyond. It is our aim to continue to develop as a premier black media institution, and for that reason, we have a special announcement. Introducing Kimbunga Media. Between the 10th of June and the 17th of Mosiah, August, we will be transitioning to a new name and institution, Kimbunga Media. In the beautiful Kiswahili language, Kimbunga means whirlwind.
Look for me in a whirlwind or a storm. Look for me all around you. For with God's grace, I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa, to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life.
Our name symbolizes our aim to take the media landscape by storm, developing high quality, impactful, geopolitical and cultural content aimed at empowering African people, bringing knowledge, information, inspiration and analysis from an unapologetically Pan-African, universal African nationalist and African-centered perspective. So, what can you expect? We are gradually developing a full spectrum of flagship shows and presenters, but in the immediate right here now, over the next couple years, we have two major aims in bringing you our flagship shows. One, the return of Kush Communiversity, bringing you high-level scholarship in all areas of people activity, featuring luminaries from across the black world. And two, the production of the full first season of the new and improved Ujamaa Black Group Economic Show. While we encourage you to develop and support black businesses, this show aims to raise our awareness of the political economy of today's world and popularize new solution paradigms in political economy among African people. Alongside all this, we will continue to bring you Zivanai, Jaliba, the Afrocentric perspective, All Eyes on Africa, Ghana, Democracy Under Fire, the Revolutionary Minds team with that artistic, ancestral energy, and as things grow and develop, there'll be plenty more. We also have plans to host live events and film screenings, so stay tuned for more information on that. So what can you do? Continue to support us by watching, liking, sharing and commenting on our content. Be sure to follow us on all social media, and if you are so moved, join our Patreon community. We'll be sharing flagship shows exclusively with our Patreon community before general release and granting you discounts to events and future screenings. Right now, if you become a Patreon, you will have access to the pilot for the Black Group Economic Show and all installments of last year's Black History Month series, Sankofa, The Future of Black History. At some point, we'll be engaging in community crowdfunding towards the production of the new and improved Ujamaa Black Group Economic Show, complete with offerings and perks for those who choose to invest in us. Look out for the launch, and we thank you in advance for your support. Any questions, feel free to hit us up in the comment section and we'll be sure to address. We look forward to you joining us for this new phase of our development. Stay tuned as we bring you Kimbunga Media. Tendai Mwadi, be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe. Kudzai Mudzimu Mukulu. We give praises unto our great ancestors. Abibi Tumi, Abibi Fahodi, African power and African liberation for all African people. Aibobo, Bon Komba, Aibobo, Bon Komba, Aibobo, Aibobo. And you, precious men, intrepid generals who, without concern for your own pain, have revived liberty by shedding all your blood, know that you have done nothing if you do not give to the nations a terrible but just example of the vengeance that must be wrought by a people proud to have recovered its liberty and jealous to maintain it. Let us frighten all those who would dare try take it from us again. Let us begin with the French. Let them tremble when they approach our coast. If not from the memory of those cruelties they have perpetrated here, then from the terrible resolution that we will have made to put to death anyone born French whose profane foot soils the land of liberty. Such is the pronouncements of our Emperor Papa Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Hail to the power of the word. Vive liberté, abat esclavage. Long live freedom, independence, liberty, and down with enslavement, colonialism, neocolonialism, and all related conditions, brothers and sisters, as it relates to African people. Aibobo, Aibobo. Greetings, brothers and sisters. We are here for another edition of We Stand with Ayiti. We're now come off of the subject, we're now left the subject of Ayiti alone. We're now leave the people of Ayiti alone. We're dep on it, and we're now come off of it, brothers and sisters. So we're there again. So greetings and welcome as you come through. We appreciate you being here. We have had a number of shows in this particular series, in 5 conversations of this kind and a number of other supplementary contributions to it, some of which features presentations from myself and other pieces of content, brothers and sisters, that's keeping you as our community worldwide in tune with what is taking place in Haiti, brothers and sisters. Yeah, and and we do so because the situation in Haiti is critical, and we do so not in isolation. We understand that what is happening in Haiti is in many ways a snapshot and a reflection and a case study in what is happening around the African world, brothers and sisters. And so the better we understand Haiti, the better we understand Jamaica, the better we understand Barbados, the better we understand Panama and Suriname, the better we understand Congo, the better we understand Azania, South Africa. Do stay tuned because we're going to be doing a show on recent developments in Azania, South Africa, brothers and sisters. The better we understand Nigeria, the better we understand Kenya, and etc., 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 brothers and sisters. And so we hope that you are appreciating the value and the information and the perspective that we are bringing through this particular offering, this humble offering that we have here at gotkushTV, soon to be Kimbunga Media. Yes, indeed, we are transitioning from gotkushTV to Kimbunga Media. More on that another day, brothers and sisters. But if you are able to join us for our conversation with Ambassador David Commichon, the Barbados ambassador to CARICOM, you will note that following our conversation with the ambassador, we hosted a panel with my father, Brother Leader Bandaka, and the man who is our special guest for this evening's proceedings, Brother Jafrikayiti. And the brother, impressed the viewing audience so much that they were calling for his return. And I did promise you that he returned. And he's here today, brothers and sisters. And so we bring you Brother Jafrikayiti, who is the co-founder of AKASAN. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm gonna have a go at my Ayisyen Creole. The Ayisyen ki ap sonti Ayisyen nètalkole. Yeah, and Brother Jafrikayiti can correct my pronunciation as he comes through. And he's also the co-founder of Solidarité Québec-Haïti, a movement which stands in solidarity with the Haitian people in their continued struggle for sovereignty and self-determination, brothers and sisters. Those last 2 words, sovereignty and self-determination, are words that you're not generally speaking going to hear in the public, the mainstream media. and in the mainstream halls of government and economic forums and banks and so on and so forth, brothers and sisters. But that's why you're here watching on gotkushTV, soon to be Kimbunga Media. And so we, with that, brothers and sisters, would like to introduce you to and bring forward our brother Jafrikayiti. Greetings, brother Jafrikayiti.
Greetings, Brother Shakara, and it's really an honor to be with you again. And I greet the news of Kibunga Media with lots of happiness, because I know we need the multiplication of our presence
Yes, sir.
in positive media out there. Great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Give thanks, my brother. And again, thank you for being here. But beyond thanking you for being here, just thank you for your work in terms of bringing information to our people, for ministering on behalf of the people of Haiti, for as long as you have been doing, but in particular since this recent crisis has been a factor on the international news. And I say that because many of us who live outside of Haiti, we sometimes are torn between what we want to do and what we are able to do. Yeah, whether that is in relation to being able to be on the soil or lacking the resources. But one of the major things that we should not underestimate, brothers and sisters, is the extent to which we can put out a productive narrative on behalf of our people in Haiti. And you have been one of the major voices helping us to do so. So we don't want to underestimate the value of your work, my brother. And so we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Just for the sake of our listeners who may not be aware, our viewers who may not be aware of you and your work, we mentioned the two organizations that you represent. Could you just speak to the work of your organization, just so brothers and sisters can situate you and your value in this conversation right now?
Excellent, thank you. So you mentioned AKASAN. AKASAN is, and your pronunciation was pretty good. The one word where you had some difficulty is soutni, which
Soutni.
means to help or to be in solidarity with. So it's
Okay.
Ayisyen ki ap soutni Ayisyen nètalkole means Haitians who are having Haitians back.
Uh-huh.
All the way.
All right.
Nètalkole means all the way. So we
Okay.
created this organization back in the early 2000s, and it's really to recognize the importance of our presence around the world, and the fact that Haitians, wherever we are, we breathe with the heartbeat of our brothers and sisters who are in Haiti. And so mobilizing resources to help build projects in Haiti. We started to focus a lot on agricultural work at the time, and we were basically collecting resources and helping start projects inside of Haiti. And
Okay.
the other organization, I did not actually co-found
Right.
Solidarité Québec-Haïti. I joined them 1 year after they started in
Okay.
Montreal in 2018. But these brothers and sisters have been really solid in making sure that we do our part
Right.
to debunk the white supremacist narrative that permeates what they call the mainstream media, which is really the white stream media. And as you know, our situation is such now that they put out the lies in Radio Canada, BBC, CBC, CNN, and then our people pick it up and repeat it, even
Yeah.
inside of Haiti, right?
Absolutely.
So it's
Absolutely.
very important for us to have organizations such as Solidarité Québec-Haïti that is active in Canada, um, and we've held events such as taking over an electoral office of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in Montreal uh,
Yes.
during elections time, in order to bring the focus
Right.
on the crimes that Canada keep on conducting in Haiti, while putting out their false narrative about them helping Haiti. And so it's really been on the area of communication that we've been active. with Solidarité Québec-Haïti. And
Mm-hmm.
recently we had two of our members who went to the meeting that was being held in Geneva. Brother Franz André and our
Mm-hmm.
sister Jenny Lorsuli were there, and they, raised the issue of restitution and reparations,
Okay.
and the fact that Haiti is being helped to death, and
Right.
that's not. We're not asking anybody to come and help us. We are
Yeah.
asking them to go away, to leave
Mm-hmm.
us alone, so that
Mm-hmm.
we can, live our sovereignty,
Mm-hmm.
as we have long ago shown to the world that we deserve and are capable of doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, my brother. It's important that we understand the work that our guests are doing. All of the guests that I've had on so far, that to advocate on behalf of the people of Haiti, are involved in work outside of this conversation, outside of the current moment. And so I always want to profile that work so people to know that this is ongoing. Yeah, and brothers and sisters have been in this fight for decades. Yeah, so we want to situate that and have people understand that. And I would love to hear more on another day in terms of like the agricultural programs and so on and so forth, because those are extremely important. All right, but my brother, I always ask the guests for a personal reflection and or reflection of what can you tell us about the conditions of the people on the ground in Haiti, our people on the ground in Haiti, our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers, our children. What can you tell us about what they are saying, what they are facing at the moment? Any perspectives that you can share, my brother, will be valuable, so our viewers can get an understanding.
Yes, so people are struggling. They
Mm-hmm.
are focusing on survival,
Mm-hmm.
on making sure that they remain alive, because
Yeah.
technically the country has been taken over
Right.
by the enemies of Haiti.
Right.
And clearly, what I am referring to here is not just the young man with
Mm-hmm.
weapons,
Mm-hmm.
creating havoc in the country. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about the whole system,
Mm-hmm.
which includes the thugs in
Mm-hmm.
Washington,
Mm-hmm.
that are connected to the thugs in the
Mm-hmm.
mountains of Pétionville,
Mm-hmm.
and the thugs down the streets in Port-au-Prince that have
Mm-hmm.
really um, taken over the Haitian state. Because
Yes.
that's, when you hear all of the conversations going on, whether it is about political decisions being made in Haiti, or a crisis during bad weather or whatever, what is
Mm-hmm.
evident to anyone who is watching is the absence of a state. But what
Yes.
is often forgotten is that the state does not self dissolve. There
Mm.
were 7,000 elected officials who were taking care of Haiti with
Mm-hmm.
limited budget, because the
Mm-hmm.
country was always impoverished, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the reality of it. However,
Mm-hmm.
these were legitimate leaders
Right.
chosen by elections organized by the people of Haiti with the resources
Right.
of Haiti. Therefore, they
Mm-hmm.
were
Mm-hmm.
accountable to the people of Haiti.
Right.
Now, the white supremacist forces invaded Haiti in 2004, and
Mm-hmm.
they toppled these 7,000 elected officials and
Mm-hmm.
handpicked thugs that
Mm-hmm.
they've named president, they've named ministers, they've named, local mayors, etc. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
that narco state that they have
Mm-hmm.
created um, is at the heart of all of this mayhem that you see happening today. And so the population is feeling more and more that they are on their own, and
Right.
everybody is just, it's the solidarity
Mm-hmm.
among the people that is allowing them to survive. And of
Right.
course, that includes those of us who are outside of Haiti, who are
Mm-hmm.
sending money to our loved ones, etc. But of
Mm-hmm.
course, this is a not only not a sustainable system,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a desirable one either. You're
Yeah.
dealing here with people who are able-bodied. Much
Mm-hmm.
of the population is young people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who are willing and able to work.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Unfortunately, what's being offered to them is not. that opportunity to, improve their level of knowledge and to work. Despite that, you
Mm-hmm.
see Haitians who brave the dangers of the gangs enter Haiti,
Mm-hmm.
participate in collective work of combit to
Mm.
build irrigation canals and stuff like that, because
Right.
desire to be
Mm.
alive is something that the
Mm.
Africans on that island
Mm.
have shown
Mm-hmm.
to the world
Mm-hmm. Time and
centuries
time again,
after
yeah.
century. They
Mm-hmm.
keep on offering us death and we keep on
Mm.
choosing life. So,
Absolutely.
when you talk to people on the phone, you hear the despair, but you also hear that they're not giving up, and we are
Yeah.
not giving up.
Yes. Thank you very much, my brother. I should also say that brother Jafrikayiti is hosting a number of programs, but most of them are in Ayisyen Creole. Yeah, so yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah, 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 you have to tap into the language, brothers and sisters. That's not a complaint. It's just a statement of fact. Yeah,
I understand
um,
that, brother, but it's an
yeah,
important point to make,
yeah,
because a lot of people are not realizing that in many of our countries, um, the so-called elite, the people
yeah.
who were formatted by the Western
Hmm.
education system,
Of course.
are lying to the world. So, for instance,
Right. Hmm.
officially, Haiti is a francophone country. It's
Yes.
not true, man. There's nothing serious you can do in French in Haiti.
Yeah.
Nothing. Okay? There's nothing serious. You can't make
Yes.
love in French. You don't do anything serious in French in Haiti. You just don't. Okay, so it was such a
Yes.
ridiculous thing the other day. I was seeing these fools that the white thugs have chosen as ministers of Haiti,
Yes.
and they were
Yes.
giving their speeches, to
Hmm.
name them minister of so and so, minister, and they were all
Yeah.
speaking French. And
Right.
imagine, where
Yeah.
you are in London, if they were,
Uh-huh.
they were naming a new cabinet,
Yes.
and
Yes.
the
Yes.
whole population of London would not understand a word of what
Yes.
minister
Right.
was saying, like, because he was
Yes.
speaking in Japanese or whatever.
Yes.
Because when
Yes.
someone
Yes.
is speaking French in Haiti, you might as well speak Japanese. Okay,
Japanese. Yeah. Yeah.
our language is Haitian Creole. That's what we
That's right.
speak. And so that's
That's
why
right.
a few years back I decided that I'm going to spend a whole lot of my time and
Yeah.
energy in
Yes.
putting scientific knowledge
Yes.
in research of history
Right.
in our language. And you know
Good.
how
Good.
you just read the speech of Jean-Jacques Dessalines at the beginning
Uh-huh.
here.
Yes.
One of the
Yes.
things that sometimes is not mentioned is that this
Yes.
actually was a speech delivered in Haitian Creole. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
most of
Yes.
the time Dessalines was
Yes.
speaking to the population,
Yes.
he was speaking
Yes.
in Creole,
Hey,
and
yes.
the scribes would then
Yes.
translate it into French, into English, and other
Absolutely.
languages. But
Absolutely.
the connection, I
Yeah.
find it myself insulting to speak
Yeah.
anything other than Creole to another
Yeah.
Haitian.
Yes, yes, yes. No, I absolutely hear you. And my brothers and sisters, there's a message that I was blessed to deliver last month in line with Africa Liberation Day, entitled "Throw Away the Image of the White Man's God,"
Mm,
Ayiti and the Vision of African Liberation. And I make the point that brother Jafrikayiti just made in relation to Dessalines and what language he was speaking. It's very, very important for us to note that, and that he, there were translators around, who would have, put it in the French and so on. So when it's documented, it's often documented in French. So
yeah.
one could assume that he rendered it in French, but
Uh-huh.
that's actually not the case. So it's a very important point to make. Yeah. But you can watch that message now on gotkushTV. So check out the videos after this. And
Yeah.
I also want to say on your point about you can't do nothing serious in French. I was in Atlanta last month and was able to spend a night partying with my IT brothers and sisters at a club. It's a Haitian club, a restaurant in Atlanta, and so it was basically the whole night was basically compa. And so I
Uh-huh.
was getting my compa on, I was learning my little two step and everything. I'm a disciple right now, brothers and sisters. I'm on the
Yes.
compa vibration, but I can confirm, yeah, to some degree that you can't do nothing serious, yeah.
Nah. Now you'll do things, but they won't be
Yeah,
serious.
you know, I'm serious. You know what I'm saying? So I can confirm that, you know what I mean? So big up to my Haitian brothers and sisters who I was partying with in Atlanta. Yeah, give thanks for all I know. All right, my brother. Thank you for that reflection there. Another question on that point though, because a lot of the narrative And a lot of what has been put out to justify the acts of America and the rest of the white supremacist axis, as you've identified them, is the idea of the country being overrun by violence. And so I've heard some stories that would suggest that there has been a lot of that violence is at least not taking place on the scale that it was at the beginning of the year. At the moment, there seems to have been somewhat of a formal or informal ceasefire on behalf of the so-called gangs, which we refer to as militias and paramilitaries. There also is some suggestion of the fact that there is some kind of a unifying of these military formations, paramilitary formations as well, which is possibly a reason for the subsiding of the violence. To what extent, as far as your purview is concerned, is that the case?
Yes, we've heard that, and in addition to this, what we've also seen is that in some neighborhoods, like my native Kafufe, which is a neighborhood in Port-au-Prince, a popular neighborhood, what we hear is that the terrorist leads are calling people to come back.
Right.
But people are not fooled.
Right.
They understand what it means. They're looking for shield.
Right.
Because there's word that there's going to be a force there, that they might be attacked. Therefore, they're looking for human shield to protect them. So part of what you're hearing is true, and that's what it's all about. There's kind of like a period where they are assessing their situation. And what we're also hearing is that some of the young men and women who are part of these militias are trying to escape. And some of them are getting killed by the heads because they see what's coming, and they know that once they don't need them anymore, they will be disposed of. And this is not new in Haitian history. This has been done several times. They've given them different names. The United States is and the other imperialist forces are in such a situation right now, that in as much as possible, if they can afford not to send any of their own soldiers in territories where they want to, sow havoc, that's what they'll do. In other words, they use the locals to do their dirty work. And in the 1990s, they created something called FRAP. And it's been proven now that it was the CIA that created this thing. And they were doing the same thing that the so-called gangs are doing right now in Haiti. And you had some of them that they created personas for them, showed them on TV, called them revolutionaries and all kinds of ridiculous stuff like that. But what you saw is that all of their victims were Black Haitians. Okay? And that's a very important thing to always observe. So, for instance, the other day, 2 white Americans perished in Haiti, and of course, it made the headlines. They call these folks missionaries. Apparently, in 2024, they're still bringing white Jesus to people of the world. Okay, so we need imaginary friends. Anyways, but they were killed by friendly fire. And that's seldom mentioned in the media. What happened is that they were robbed by a gang that invaded the so-called orphanage they claim to have been running there. And by the way, this is very close to the huge U.S. embassy in Haiti. All of that was happening, okay, in Tabar. So they were robbed. The orphanage was robbed by a gang. That gang left. They took everything and that they were stealing, and then they left. They didn't hit anybody. And apparently someone from the orphanage called a local gang that has been their ally for the longest time, Jeff Canaran. And Jeff Canaran sent his soldiers to go and protect the white missionaries. And they did not recognize them when they arrived. And the white missionaries shot at Jeff Canaran's soldiers, who shot back and killed them.
Right.
And then, burned the bodies and whatever. So the question is, if you're a missionary, how come a local gang is your ally in Haiti? What kind of
Mm,
mission are you on in Haiti?
mm, mm,
Okay.
mm, mm,
So,
mm.
and apparently Jeff Canaran killed a number of his soldiers who were involved in the killing of the two missionaries because that wasn't their plan.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, but they're not giving you a lot of information about how this happened. And also, the U.S. has been sending helicopters to take their citizens out of Haiti. What were these two young people doing in Haiti?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Serious questions need to be asked, my brothers and sisters. We're speaking to Brother Jafrikayiti about what is taking place in Haiti at the moment. But my brother, we're gonna, whilst there was a lot of information, in and around March, April, about what was going on in Haiti, the media was flooded with images of Jimmy Chelizier, aka Barbecue, and the language of gangs was proliferating all around the media.
Yeah.
Things have been a bit quiet recently, in the last month or so, which is rather interesting because you would assume that based upon the fact that President Ruto of Kenya has promised to lead this campaign into Ayiti, based upon the fact that Canada was training troops in Jamaica, Caribbean troops in Jamaica,
Yeah.
about just over a month ago, based upon the fact that President Ruto landed in America at the end of last month to meet with Joe Biden, President of America, to initiate this whole thing, that you would find a lot of information, and there just hasn't been, based upon the fact that the CARICOM Presidential Council that was put in place has in fact elected a prime minister, a transitional prime minister or an interim prime minister, and so on. So we're going to go through these different happenings and fill in the gaps of the information that brothers and sisters may have. And I suggest let us begin with the mission, because I
Mhm.
believe, if my chronology is correct, that Ruto landed in America prior to the prime minister actually being put in place, even
Yes.
though the actual presidential council was in place prior to Ruto landing, but the actual prime minister was elected
Hmm.
afterwards. So we're going to come back to the prime minister, who he is and where he come from, and how he was even elected in the first place. So now, in and around the 23rd of May,
Yeah.
Ruto lands in America to meet with Biden. And they're loving on each other, and declaring the virtues of this mission. But there, even at that point, there seemed to have been some delays, regarding what exactly was supposed to, like, when it was supposed to have been launched, what was supposed to have been launched exactly, and so on. What can you tell us about the delays of this mission? Has it been put into effect yet? We hear that America has flown warplanes in to
Yeah.
to put in infrastructure to support the mission, but the mission itself hasn't necessarily been initiated yet. What the hell is going on with this
Yeah.
mission?
So there's a lot of faking
Right.
going on, and for instance, when you mentioned that Canada is training troops in Jamaica,
Yes.
we need to put the emphasis on the fact that Canada has a military base in Jamaica.
Absolutely.
And as we say that, most Canadians would be totally surprised to hear that.
Yes. Yes.
Completely unaware of that fact. I only learned that a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reality is, whereas that so-called mission that they claim to be led by Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that's not true. That Kenya doesn't have the possibility of leading anything.
That's right.
Okay, it's a
Mm-hmm.
U.S. mission. What happened is that the last time the white supremacist forces landed in Haiti in
Mm-hmm.
2004 to kidnap a black president and his spouse,
Mm-hmm.
the year of the bicentennial of the end of racial slavery in the Americas, it
Mm-hmm.
looked bad. You
Mm-hmm.
had a whole bunch of white soldiers enter the house of a black president, kidnap him in Haiti, and take him
Mm.
to Africa. The optics
Yeah.
were ridiculously ugly.
Ridiculous. Yes.
Okay, it was condemned by the 52 nations of the African Union, which is not
Mm-hmm.
known to be revolutionary, by the way. It was
Anyway.
condemned by CARICOM. It was
Mm-hmm.
condemned by the Congressional Black Caucus.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone black who is not totally sold, okay, condemned the thing because it
Yeah.
was just so in your face.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
they
Yes.
understood that now, if we're going to invade Haiti, we need to at least mask the thing. Okay.
Mm.
And so we're
Mm.
going to say it's led by Kenya. But of course,
Mm.
Ruto, I mean, yes, he's a sellout, but
Mm-hmm.
he's also a thief. Okay. Like
Mm.
he's
Mm.
bargaining, and he was saying from the very beginning that the money has to be in the account before
Yes.
I send anyone.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Right.
the proper term to refer to these individuals is
Mm-hmm.
mercenaries. Okay?
Right.
Because, by
Right.
the way, this is not a UN mission. Not that if it
Mm-hmm.
was a UN mission, it would have been good, because, you
Right.
know, the mission that went in 2004 was a UN mission, and they murdered thousands of Haitians, conducted
Mm-hmm.
rapes on boys and girls, and, gave us cholera and all kinds of stuff. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
because it's of that. But the point is, they made sure this time to approve a Chapter 7 mission, which means that they can go out there and shoot, okay,
Mm-hmm.
to kill.
Mm-hmm.
But the United Nations said that no, you cannot come and, blame us for any mayhem that might happen because it's
Mm-hmm.
not a UN mission. So it's a UN sanction mission, but it's not a UN mission. Like, what is that? So they're
Mm.
testing a new model
Right.
where the white supremacist forces, if they want to go, for instance, steal the lithium of Bolivia, for instance, well,
Yes.
they can claim that there's mayhem, it's a
Mm-hmm.
fragile state, they have a resolution of the UN, and then they collect a set of mercenaries from Africa, from different places, and then just go in and take the lithium of Bolivia.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, and that's what they're using Haiti for. It's a
So,
laboratory. But the thing
mm,
is, at the same time, they have the problem in Ukraine. So
yes.
they are making speeches, but they don't have the money
To
to do
do it.
exactly what they want to do.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and Ruto is, he's negotiating so that he can make as much money as possible on
Mm-hmm.
the back of his mercenaries that he's sending to Haiti. And
Right.
I don't know if you were watching, but he's in hot seat right now because there are demonstrations happening in Nairobi. The
Mm-hmm.
young people are calling for Ruto to just get the hell out. They're tired
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of this goon because he's basically doing everything that the white supremacist forces ask him to do.
Yes.
From
Yes.
giving the red carpet to the so-called king in that country where you live, uh, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and all kinds of stuff like that. When the Mau Mau are
Mm,
asking for reparations from these criminals, so
mm-hmm.
there's a lot of so they don't want people to know that this so-called mission is in trouble, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time it is progressing. So for instance,
Right.
just a few minutes ago, a colleague sent me announcements from the Canadian government. They are
Mm-hmm.
they're hiring 4 people
Right.
to coordinate uh, connect communication between the fake Haitian government that they've just established
Right.
and their foreign masters. And those 4 positions are going to be in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Okay? I mean, like, we
just,
have no
wait,
choice.
just to point out, that is the residence of Gilbert Bijot,
Exactly.
and if I'm not mistaken, a number of the other
Michel
oligarchs.
Martelly. Michel Martelly
Right,
is there too.
right, yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? A number of the other oligarchs and politicians who have in fact been funding the so-called gangs, yeah, in Ayiti, and basically facilitating the economic destruction of the Ayiti economy on behalf of American business, capital, and government, brothers and sisters. So Florida has a lot to answer for in these dynamics. But yeah, go ahead, my brother. Continue.
But brother Shaka, while they keep us fixated on the fact that Ruto was lying all along, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
technically, the Kenyan soldiers were supposed to be in Haiti a few
Yes.
days before the
Yes.
23rd of May when he
Yes.
was in
Yeah. That's right.
Washington, so that they could have made a big announcement and whatever.
Yes.
And none of that materialized because
Yes.
they're still collecting money. Canada said they're going to send X hundred millions. But these people, they all know they're lying, because a lot of the things that they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
when Canada says they're going to give X millions for Haiti, most of that money counts their own soldiers, who
Yes.
are, some of them are going to stay in Canada, but they're going to
Yes.
claim that they're helping Haiti. So all of that
Yes.
budget,
Yes. Yes.
it's a lot of fronting and pretending. Now,
Yes.
at the same time, the U.S. has been in Haiti,
Mm-hmm.
so they keep us fixated on looking for the
On Kenya. That's right.
from Kenyan soldiers. Meanwhile, the
Mm-hmm.
American soldiers have been
I've flown
getting
in.
into Haiti with plane loads of
Yes.
equipment.
Right.
Okay.
Mm.
And of course, there are some naive Haitians who started saying that, oh, yes, they're going to go after barbecue, they're going to go after Izo, you know,
Yeah.
and some of the folks who actually know military equipment in the Haitian community have been saying, wait a minute, like these things that are landing at the airport don't look like equipment to go and fight, gangs.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
This looks
Mm-hmm.
more like these guys are building a permanent military base in Haiti. Okay. At the same
Mm.
time, you see Russian ships going to Cuba, right? So these guys
Mm.
are doing their own stuff,
Mm.
and then they're keeping us entertained,
Mm-hmm.
as if it was, we were part of the movie. No, man, this
Yes.
is their
Yes.
own
Yes.
film. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
You just
Yes.
part
Yes.
of the environment in this thing. Because
Right.
the reason why this is important is that a few days before the US planes started landing in Haiti, some of the images that were making the rounds on, WhatsApp and social media were that the so-called gangs, or the
Mm-hmm.
terrorists that are
Mm-hmm.
US armed,
Mm-hmm.
were shooting so close to the airport that,
Yep.
you know people were afraid, and they
Yep.
eventually closed the airport.
The airport.
Well,
Yeah.
where are they now? How
Yes.
come
Yeah.
once American planes are landing, the gangs
Yeah.
just disappear?
Everything scatter. Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
so there
Mm-hmm.
is a remote control
Mm.
for the terrorist, and it's not a
Mm-hmm.
coincidence that these
Mm.
terrorists have all of their weapons, 100%, coming from the
Mm.
United States. So
Yes.
this whole thing that's being played in Haiti is no different than what's being played on the African continent in the Sahel region, where the
Mm-hmm.
Europeans, they create the
Mm-hmm.
terrorists, they
Mm-hmm.
arm them, and then they
Mm-hmm.
go and offer their help to the government of that
Yes.
country so that they can fight the terrorist.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then
Absolutely.
next thing you know, you have a military base in your country,
Absolutely.
supposedly to fight terrorists. But as you know, the brothers and sisters in Niger, Burkina
Mm-hmm.
Faso, um, and Mali recognize
Mm-hmm.
that no, we got to get rid of these crazy bald heads, and take care of business on our own. And you see the success they've been having since they kicked the French out.
Absolutely. And at the moment, Macron's in trouble in France right now. Right now.
Yeah, but that's white people trouble. They're just
Of
having
course, of
fun with
course,
each
of course.
other.
Of course, of course, of course. Another subject for another time. Brothers and sisters, for your information, this multinational security support mission, as it is referred to, has brought together a number of countries who have pledged to send troops. And the countries in question are Antigua and Barbuda, Bangladesh, Barbados, Benin, Chad, Guyana, Grenada, St. Lucia, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Jamaica, Kenya, Suriname, and the Bahamas. And you will notice that all but one of those nations, namely Bangladesh, is a majority black nation. Of the nations that I have named just now, only 3 of them, as far as my information is concerned, have actually pledged a specific number of troops. That is Benin, 2,000, Kenya, 1,000, and Bahamas, 150, like literally 150 people they're pledging to this mission. And I'm going to read something that just elucidates something that brother Jafrikayiti has said, which is an article on a website called Global Initiative, against transnational organized crime. And this piece is called "Who is in Charge of the Haiti Mission? Obstacles, Objections, and opacity continue to put the multinational security support mission in Haiti at risk." And they inform us that while the multinational security support mission is governed by Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, it is intended to be financed by a trust fund to which interested countries contribute. As of the 10th of June, the fund, which is just about a week ago, the fund had received just 21 million from the United States, Canada, and France. A far cry from the estimated $600 million, that is, cost of the operation, which is scheduled to last 1 year. So apparently, this mission is supposed to last for 1 year.
Yeah.
As of now, alongside this trust fund, it is mainly President Biden's administration that is coordinating and financing deployment. Yeah. And so when Brother Jafrikayiti is saying that it's basically a US mission, right? We just have to understand that. That I go on right about now. Yeah. Now, my brother, I have challenged this thing. By the way, when in the press conference and all the meetings that Ruto had with Biden, one of the things that I identified is that CARICOM was not mentioned at all. In any of that, that their public statements, they did not mention the Caribbean community at all. And so we can take from that CARICOM is virtually a non-entity, as at least as far as this this support mission is concerned, if the pronouncements of Ruto and Biden are anything to go by. Yeah, but initially Blinken said that they were going to pledge 300 million, as America alone, and we're hearing now it's 21 million, brothers and sisters, that is in the kitty as it stands at the moment. So you've already spoken to what the delays are. You've highlighted the fact that American troops, have actually entered, and it looks like they're trying to build a military base. So where are the Kenyans, brother Jafrikayiti?
Well, no, they are in Kenya, and of course, Ruto might actually need more police and soldiers to protect him,
Right.
because now the young people are rising up in that country because he's trying to do some of the things that the IMF and the World Bank are asking him to do when his population is suffering. And some of our brothers and sisters watching this have not been on the African continent, and unfortunately they might fall for the propaganda that gives you the impression that the poverty that they talk about that exists in many of the African countries is something that's just natural. There's nothing natural about it. I had the privilege of spending a day in Nairobi on my way to Kenya and Tanzania 2 years ago, and the Kenyan are beautiful people, and you can see that these are hardworking people who, if they have the proper governance. And at the time I was there, actually, the election was just about to happen, and people were very hopeful, and they actually thought that Ruto was a different kind of person. But it's clear to them that Ruto's idea of development for Kenya is to export Kenyans out of Kenya. That's what he's doing in every file, sending them to Australia, sending them everywhere. I mean, this is what actually got Africa in the trouble that it is today.
Absolutely.
Okay, so slavery. Okay, whether you disguise it and you give it all kinds of cover is a shame. When you look at what they're talking about in terms of the promise to those police officers. Of course, they're paid very, very shitty salaries in Kenya. So when they're sending them in these missions, for each officer, it's a major improvement in terms of salary. But of course, they downplay the real danger that they are facing. Because these guys think that they're going to go on a easy mission in Haiti because they know
Of
there's no
course.
army in Haiti.
Yes,
There's just
yes, yes,
gangs.
yes.
They're telling them that it's actually going to be the Haitian police that's going to be in the front. They're going to be at the back. But think
Yes.
about it. They're promising you all of these millions of dollars, and the Haitian police officers are getting paid what? And they're going
What?
to be
Yeah.
in the front,
Right.
and you don't speak the Creole language.
Right.
How do you think you're going to survive there? Okay,
Right. Right.
so they are sending these people, uh, to die. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
and I know there are people in Jamaica watching this, and they think it's going to be, a walk in the park. No, it's not, and
Yes.
unfortunately, there's a risk that not enough level-headed folks are going to raise their voice on time, that they are
Mm.
going to have some of these soldiers go to Haiti, and there will be, mayhem, because it's like everything has been put in place for this to be a fratricide. Okay,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Africans murdering each other right, left, and center,
Mm-hmm.
complete chaos,
Mm-hmm.
and they wouldn't care if this is what the outcome is. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
because
Yes.
as you've seen for the past 5-10 years, we've been living a nightmare with our
Yeah.
family members being kidnapped and murdered, etc. And
Mm-hmm.
it was never in the news. Two
Mm-hmm.
white people get killed in Haiti, and all of a sudden, oh, there's a kidnapping, and it, something needs to be done, etc. It's an emergency. And the other element of it is also the fact that Pan Africanism, which is
Mm-hmm.
something sacred, something real,
Mm.
is being sullied by
Mm.
fools like Ruto, who are using
Mm.
those words,
Mm.
and they're turning it into something that, imagine if the Kenyans and Senegalese, Chadians and Bahamians go to Haiti, and then there
Mm-hmm.
starts to be some incidents, as there's bound to be. Okay, a
Mm-hmm.
mission where you don't know who is leading it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's no
Mm-hmm.
clear accountability. Some
Yes.
of the folks in the Haitian government are claiming that they're going to be working under the leadership of the Haitian National Police. And then
Mm-hmm.
Ruto says, no, that's not how it's going to be. Like, come
Right.
on, folks, you cannot be having this kind of
Right.
uncertainty when you're talking about something so crucial. Well,
Absolutely.
we don't know each other well in the Caribbean. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of negative stereotypes
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
people in the Caribbean have about
Mm-hmm.
Haitians. A lot of
Absolutely.
and many people in the Caribbean don't know that Haitians also have their own crazy stereotypes
Mm-hmm.
about them. Now,
Mm-hmm.
imagine if we start having black people killing each other in Haiti. All of these
Mm-hmm.
negative stereotypes are
Mm.
going to rise up, and you're
Mm.
going to see us self-hating,
Yeah.
and then, and that's what they're counting on, because
Yeah.
then we will forget who
Yes.
actually collapsed the Haitian
Yes.
state.
It's
We
right.
will
But
forget who the real criminals are.
yes, my brother. We're going to come back to that in a second. It's interesting that it was described to me because I was speaking about the fact that this is basically a U.S. mission to one brother, and he his retort was something to the degree that how does because I refer to it as occupation by proxy,
Yeah.
and he responded by saying, well, how does 1,000 or a few hundred Kenyan troops in Ayiti represent an occupation, right? And I think that we need to look to AFRICOM, yeah, as an example of what is taking place here. And I only say that because AFRICOM is much more well known than what is referred to as Southcom. And Southcom is America's military high command in the region of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So when you see them now, and what you're saying just a minute ago is very, very serious. I want to highlight it again that Brother Jafrikayiti is saying that the people on the ground that know arms are saying, but what the American planes that are bringing in equipment doesn't look like they're bringing in equipment to fight a battle with quote unquote gangs. It looks like they're trying to build a military base in Haiti. Yeah. So now we've seen the training going on. There's talk of a military base being built, and the idea that they want proxies to front their military agenda. So now the Caribbean region yes, the Caribbean region is going to become a military proxy
That's
for
right.
American interest. Yeah, armies, brothers and sisters. That when have you ever seen a Jamaican army, for example, deployed in defense of the nation of Jamaica? Yeah,
Mm,
right. You know what I'm saying? That the prime minister sent the army to defend the nation. It never happens in most of our nations. The army, the military, is but an extension of the police force. So they do much more civilian internal deployment than anything outside of the nation. Yeah. So this is an extremely important point. So thank you for that context and that information, brother Jafrik Ayiti. And your talk on Ruto being a mercenary is a very sound one, and we'll come more on that in relation to his relationship with Rwanda and Congo in another show, but
exactly.
that's another
Exactly.
subject for another time. My brother, let us move on slightly, yeah, and look at the by the way, sorry, coming back to before I leave this point, yeah. So the talk of the quietening down of the activities of the so-called militias, yeah. How long from your purview has that situation been the case? Have the
Well,
militia?
it's a relative calm, okay? Because
Yeah.
people are being kidnapped, people are
Yes.
being killed, okay? So,
Yeah.
for instance, just last week, I heard that a childhood friend of mine got killed because the neighborhood where we live, everybody vacated that neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and he went back to collect money from someone who owed him,
Oh,
and the next day they found him
end up.
dead. Okay,
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
so
Carl. Sorry.
these things are still happening. Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
uh, Now, what you don't have that is making the news is, continuous attacks on certain neighborhoods, etc.
Right.
And
Right.
so, but that's because they're preparing themselves. So, like, they're stocking on food, they're stocking up on water and things like that. Okay, so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're bunking up. They're preparing themselves. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so. Um, but I think another point I wanted to make with regards to, how you mentioned the militarization of the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we need to always put this in the global context. Okay, right?
Absolutely.
Like I
Yeah.
said, the Russian ships coming to Cuba is very much linked to the
Yeah.
activities of the Americans in Haiti and the
Yes.
Canadians in Jamaica. So, for
Yes. Yes.
instance, I didn't know that the
Mm,
Canadian soldiers who entered Haiti the night of February 29th to conduct the coup
mhm,
2004 did
mhm,
not come from Canada. They came from Jamaica. So,
mhm,
those militaries that are in the Caribbean, they are not there for us. Okay?
absolutely.
They're
Absolutely.
there for them to conduct their business. And
Absolutely.
unfortunately, I mean, this is not, you know, we need to put these in historical perspective because
Right.
uh, because we are not in control of our education systems, a lot of these things that have happened already in the past, when we're seeing them happening in our lifetime, we don't
Mhm,
see the pattern to realize that no, this is not new. In
mhm,
the so-called Second World War,
mhm,
okay, when the Europeans were fighting each other in Europe, okay,
mhm,
the same thing happened. They took Africans not only in Senegal because they called them the tirailleurs sénégalais, but they took them from Senegal, from the Congo, they took them from English speaking African countries right now, and then they went to liberate Europe,
right.
European cities like Paris, etc. And some of them not only never received the pay that they were promised, okay,
Mm,
no pension, and they were
mm,
ambushed by the French military and murdered.
mm,
Okay,
mm, mm,
so this
mm,
happened then. And the other day, I was doing some genealogy work, and I was
mhm,
totally surprised to find that a document that I have found a few years ago is actually of people who are related to me directly. Like they're part of my lineage. There were two men, 120, one was 25, and there
mhm,
was a slave catching announcement, like they used to have at the time in the newspapers. Okay, and in Haiti it was les affiches américaines, and they were announcing that Jean and Jean-Baptiste Lefebvre are running. They are runaway slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who catches these two mulatto men who claim to be free on
Mm-hmm.
account of the fact that they had gone to Savannah, Georgia, to fight in the War of Liberation of the United States, the War of Independence. And since they had promised African soldiers who went to that war freedom, then they claim to be free men. And then in the
Mm-hmm.
affiche or the announcement, they said, you know, wherever you find these two fools, grab
Mm-hmm.
them and
Mm.
bring them to so and so.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm talking about the war that they're talking about here in Savannah is 1779, and
Yes. Yes.
this announcement in Affiche Américaine was in 1823. Sorry, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, sorry. What year was it? Was no 1783. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the war was 1779, and the affiche was 1783. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so what I'm saying here is there is not any time in recorded history that
Right.
white criminals had
Yeah.
taken black bodies to put in the
Mm-hmm.
front line as cannon fodder, that it
Yes.
did not end bad for us.
Badly. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and so
Yes. Yes.
today when you see what's the name of this general from the US, you know, the black
Mm-hmm.
guy they're sending everywhere.
Michael Langley. Mm-hmm.
No, there's him. There's another one.
Oh,
He's the big general they sent to Africa to negotiate opening new military bases
that's
in
Michael Langley is the head of AFRICOM. He's
Langley.
yeah,
Yes, you're
yeah,
right. You're
Michael,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when people look at that and they look at the picture and they see Patrice Talon, okay, and who is
Mm-hmm.
the president of Benin, and
Mm-hmm.
then they see Langley,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they say, well, there's no white man there. Well, yeah,
Right.
you don't see him, but he's there.
Right, he's there exactly
Okay,
on both sides of that equation.
that's right.
But yeah. So my brother, all right. So let's go forward then and talk about what happened a few days later in terms of the election of our new prime minister in Haiti. We have a new prime minister in Haiti, brothers and sisters, and this is supposed to represent democracy, and freedom and stability within the nation, brothers and sisters. We have to get to grips with the fact that Gary Conil, is it Conil? How you pronounce it?
Conille.
Conil.
Yeah.
Gary Conil, yeah, is our new prime minister in Haiti. Now, he's said to have been elected, my brother, on the back of a very conflictual process, yeah, that brought him to power. What can you tell us about the process that brought our prime minister, our new prime minister, into office?
It's funny. Every time you say our, I feel like saying, no, it's yours. I don't recognize the fool. No. Well, let's first clarify that he hasn't been elected. There's no way anyone can be elected in Haiti right now. There's no election
Right,
that can be organized.
absolutely.
What they are doing is a number of appointments, but they're doing them through um, some kind of steps that pretends that they have legitimacy, but there's no way anything can be done legitimately in Haiti right now because
Mhm,
you cannot organize an election because
mhm.
the country doesn't have the
Yep.
safety for that. But
Mhm.
and they don't want that either. They don't want the voice of the people. They don't want
Yes.
the people to be involved. Okay, the people
Mhm.
have been kept out of the
Yes.
business of Haiti, and that's how they want it.
Yeah.
So this guy was appointed supposedly by the Electoral Transition Commission, okay, the
Mhm.
CPT,
Mhm.
which itself, was appointed through this negotiation where they pretended that CARICOM was leading it. Okay, it's all
Mhm.
a game of smoke and mirrors, right? Because of
Mhm.
course, as we had the discussion with brother David Commission a
Mhm.
few months ago,
Mhm.
clearly it's not CARICOM who was leading
Mhm.
those discussions. Okay,
Right. Mhm.
Canada, the United States was funding the thing, and
Yes.
the CARICOM folks went along and
Mhm.
they played their part. Okay,
Mhm.
we're not going to sit here and pretend not to understand what the game really is. Okay.
Right, right, right.
And like I said, I'm not here to cast judgment on the leaders of the Caribbean
Mhm,
on the basis of the fact that they're very small economies,
mhm.
and they can be threatened from Washington,
Of course,
and
easily.
things
Yeah.
happen. Okay,
Mhm,
that's not to say that I give them carte blanche to
mhm,
betray our people. They
mhm,
still have the obligation to resist.
mhm,
But let's speak truth
mhm.
to what's happening. So the
Absolutely.
Americans, the way they chose this electoral presidential council, in other words, these they selected 7 people with the right to vote
Right.
uh, to replace the office of the president, because as you know, Jovenel Moise was killed, the puppet president that the Americans had put in place earlier, and they killed him in 2021. Now,
Mhm,
so this is the president, and in Haiti, the president is the person who is supposed to be elected by the people. Like you have a national election where people cast their vote for a president who is head of state, and it's the president who do things like anything that has to do with international negotiations and stuff like that. And then the president would appoint a prime minister, and that prime minister would go in front of the parliament to ratify them after they had verified that this guy is no thief, all of the the things that they need to do to verify
mhm,
whether
mhm,
they met the requirements of having lived in the country for the past 5 years, paid his
mhm,
taxes or her taxes, etc. We're not living any of that right now, and that's
mhm,
why when you see who they've selected,
mhm.
no Haitian is surprised that Gary Coney is the one who was eventually
Right.
named prime minister. Okay,
Mhm,
and this is a pattern that we keep on seeing, not only for the prime minister that the Americans have selected, but it
mhm,
also the same thing for the chief of police, because for the
mhm.
longest time Haitians don't get the privilege of choosing their own chief of police. It's usually Washington that decides, okay, let's put this one here.
Yep.
And what they
Mhm.
have been doing recently is recycling people.
Right.
Okay. So both the Gariconi guy that they're sending now as prime
Mhm.
minister is a guy who came straight from the UNESCO,
Yep.
and having worked in the UN system for all of these years, that's where he
Yep.
basically, and then with Bill Clinton,
Mhm.
he was, the joke in Haiti is that he was carrying the suitcase of Bill Clinton, wherever he went.
Mhm.
Um, but uh, the same thing with regards to the guy that they've named as next chief of police, Ramon Normil, who's coming
Mm.
directly from Washington, where he's
Yes.
been for the past few years. And so,
Yes.
and he was the chief of police already
Mhm.
several months earlier. And what
Right.
is very worrying about that is that he was the chief of police at the time of the most significant drug bust in Haitian history. The name of the boat that was carrying tons of cocaine, heroin, is Manzanares,
Mhm.
Manzanares, and that
Mhm.
it came from Panama and Colombia and went to Haiti, and it was the largest shipload of illegal drugs in 2015. And the scandal that blew out of this thing is that Michel Martelly was the owner of that drug,
Mhm.
and Michel Martelly at the time was president of Haiti. Okay,
Mm.
and
Mm.
who was in charge of drug fighting in Haiti at the time? Ramon Normil, the guy they've just named new chief of police.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and if you go look, you really have to look well on the web for
Mhm.
information on Manzanares and the DEA. What you will find
Okay.
is that there's a special U.S. counsel that blamed the Drug Enforcement Administration of the United States for the way
Mhm.
they botched the investigation on the Manzanares scandal to protect DEA informants who were
Mhm.
involved. Instead of fighting drugs, they were dealing drugs in Haiti. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
they arrested only one black guy in Haiti, put him in jail for this thing, when
Right.
the owners, the Haitian justice system condemned the Accra brothers, who are white
Right.
Haitians,
Right.
okay, and
Mm-hmm.
and Martelly,
Yeah.
who was named in this thing. None of these folks ever went in jail.
Went to
Okay,
jail.
so
Yeah.
Ramon Normil is coming back to do what
Yeah.
as chief of police, and
Police.
same thing with regards Kony being so close to the Clintons.
Yes.
That is telling me, and on top of that, when Ruto was in Washington the other day on the 23rd of May, if you look at
Mm-hmm.
the dinner list, the guests who were there, many of
Mm.
the same people, the Clintons were there, both Hillary and Bill were there. A number of
Right.
the folks who were involved in all kinds of shady activities, Huma Abedin and all kinds of others, Cheryl Mills, all of them were in that meeting. So this is
Mm.
telling us that the Clinton mafia is definitely back in business in Haiti, and they
Yes.
want to make sure, because don't forget, when you hear all of these millions of dollars being pledged for the mission in Haiti, uh,
Mm-hmm.
we who are Haitians, we are not phased by that, because we remember what happened after the earthquake. Okay, on the 31st of March 2010, just a few days or weeks after the earthquake, there was a meeting in New York of the United Nations, and they pledged $13 billion of rebuilding, Haiti Rebuilding Fund, which was
Mm-hmm.
under the guide of of Bill Clinton.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and no one who is not completely dishonest will tell you that if you go to Haiti today, you will see any sign of those $13 billion rebuilding. Of course,
Mm.
they never collected the 13 billion. I mean, when these people are pledging, they say whatever comes out of their mouths, okay? And they
Right.
know
Right.
there's not going to be any follow up. But there were money. There were at least some people documented at least upwards of $9 billion who were collected. But that money never made it to Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe a few thousands and millions dollars here and there,
Yeah.
but not definitely not $9 billion. And the Clintons have never answered as to where
Yes.
that money went.
Yeah, my brother, it's a litany of crimes, yeah, that we can outline just in the recent history of Ayiti, in relation to the characters that are still on the so-called chessboard right now, yeah. And when the one of the biggest issues that we have is that whilst CARICOM is projecting itself as the orchestrators, CARICOM and its group of eminent persons, I might add,
Mm-hmm.
is projecting itself as the facilitators of this process. It appears to me that all of the appointments are connected, as you've just been outlining, to some foreign interest. Yeah. So whether it's the United Nations, the Clintons, the American government, and one of the ones that interested me was the appointment of the Minister of Finance, or the Minister of
Yeah,
Economy.
yeah.
Is a woman by the name of Kathleen
Florestal.
Florestal, right?
Hmm.
Who is connected to the IMF and the World Bank, right?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah.
She's worked for both the IMF and the World Bank, and been very successful in going through the American what's the word, university system, as
Yeah.
far as her studies are concerned, right? So all of these same white power forces, yes, are the ones who are in the minds and the hearts and the spirits of all of these people that are appointed in a presidential a transitional government that is supposed to restore self-determination yeah, to the people of Haiti. Can you just speak to how ludicrous it is, or what is the significance? Let me not put anything on it. What is the significance of the Minister of Economy in Haiti right now that has been appointed, being an employee of the IMF and the World Bank and various other such institutions?
Yeah. Well, it's in the Canadian media. We had seen at the time of the 2004 coup some documents published by military folks saying that Haiti should be put under complete UN tutelage,
Yes, yes.
and that we should disregard all of this talk about sovereignty, and let's build the economy the way we conceive it, and then we'll transfer power to the Haitians when we're ready. Okay, they were saying that, point blank. Okay, like, I think people are under an illusion that the current generation of racist white supremacists who are occupying offices of power in Europe and white North America are somehow different than their father, their grandfather, their great grandfather. Nah, man. We did not win any war against these people. Okay? There was a transition, a transformation, an adaptation. So as long as they can get away with whatever their great grandparents were doing, they will do it.
They will do it, right?
And so what you're seeing right now is a complete denial of Haitian sovereignty.
Yes,
And
yes.
so the Minister of Finance and Commerce in Haiti
Mm-hmm.
is the face of the 15 white mafia families in Haiti. Okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
She is there to answer and to cater to their needs. And now, I keep on saying to anyone who is willing to listen that you will see a sign that something is changing in Haiti when
Mm-hmm.
even one of these white mafia leaders is arrested and put in
Mm.
jail.
Mm.
You will
Not, not,
not.
not, not just sanctioned by the Canadian government.
Yeah, sanction on invisible sanctions. No, I mean,
Right.
that's a
Mhm.
ridiculous
Yeah.
idea. Like I've said to folks before, I could not imagine, the richest person in Canada, let's say living in Montreal, would be
Mm-hmm.
found to be funding, the Hells Angels and Rock Machine, the two biggest gangs that we have, drug running
Yeah.
gangs that we have in Canada, and then
Yeah.
that the sanction against that person would be that, okay, well, you cannot trade in tomato paste, olive oil, a list of the things that you can no
Right.
longer trade in.
Right.
That's your
Mm-hmm.
punishment. Come on, that's ridiculous.
Silly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Mm-hmm.
obviously they are not entertaining
Mm-hmm.
any change in the neo colony. The
Right.
way Haiti is currently a
Right.
captured market,
Yes.
where
Yes.
the
Yes.
11 million Haitians who are living in Haiti are
Mm-hmm.
there to
Mm-hmm.
provide, to buy the products of these 15
Mm-hmm.
white mafia families who are
Mm-hmm.
importing,
Mm-hmm.
rice, whatever,
Yes.
so that these
Mm-hmm.
people can survive. And that money is coming from us, Haitians
Yeah.
living abroad and whatever. That's not a
Yeah.
real economy. That you cannot
No,
build anything with that.
with that.
Okay.
That's right.
And that's
That's right.
why you will see Haitians go out of their way, living comfort in other places, to go in Haiti and work with the peasants to build
Yeah.
irrigation canals so that we
Yeah.
can grow food. Because you know there's nothing magical about it. We have all of we require on that island to live prosperous lives. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a lack of agronomists, it's not a lack of doctors, lawyers,
Absolutely.
architects that we have these people,
Absolutely.
but they've
Absolutely.
rendered the country inhospitable for black Haitians. And
Absolutely.
in order for them to protect those 15 white mafia families, that's
Yes.
why they're mobilizing those mercenaries out of
Yeah.
Africa. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're giving the illusion
Yes.
to others that no, these guys are police officers who are going to help professionalize the
Yeah.
Haitian police. Well,
Right.
that's what they said when they landed in 2004. It's been 20
Yes.
years.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
how come you did
Absolutely.
not do it in 20 years and now you're promising that you're going to do it in 1 year?
I tell you better than that, my brother. They said similar in the 1930s and the 1940s and the 1950s, and the result of that was the Gandamari. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a ongoing cycle that we need to break. Yeah. As a people. And your answer is an excellent one, because we look at the broader situation. We understand that to put what you just said into context, it is known. It's not a secret. Yeah, it is known that the oligarchs that Brother Jafrikayiti is referring to have a direct relationship with the government, have a or the former government officials have a direct relationship with the quote unquote gangs, yeah, underground in Haiti. It is known that these mafias are funding and arming the militias. Yeah, this is not a secret because that is the reason why Canada put out their little full sanctions on them as individuals, not their companies or their corporations, but them as individuals. Yeah, so
Exactly.
Biggio, his son can continue to run the corporation,
Exactly.
and they put some little minuscule
Eh,
full
Yeah.
so-called restrictions on
Eh,
Biggio as an individual
The,
and think that they're solving the problem.
the
Yeah,
fool,
go ahead.
if he's not 90, he's very close to being 90. So he doesn't care
Yeah,
about his own name.
doesn't care,
That's
right?
right.
Exactly. That, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So and that's the thing, there, brothers and sisters. Yeah, we have to understand the games that are being played, and understand when narratives are produced and propagandized in for the purpose of defending and protecting these elements. Yeah, that is what is happening because there is no talk about attacking the resources of those who are funding. Yeah, the same governments, brothers and sisters, who basically took Russia out of the global market a couple years ago,
Yeah.
froze a whole heap of their funds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They say it's not theft.
right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just
When they
froze.
do it, it's not theft.
It's not billions of Russian oligarch money just saw, right? That was it.
Yeah.
No access to your money. Them can't do the same for the oligarchs them in the Haiti. Why? Because they operate in their interest. We have to
Yeah.
understand these things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we see Wagwan, and the more things unfold, the more we understand that CARICOM is not in charge of this process. All right. So let's dispense with the facades. Yeah. So we have the government now, my brother. Anything more that you need to outline on the nature of this government information as it stands at the moment?
Yeah.
Have they put forward any projects, policies? What is have they stated their intention? What's the deal?
Yeah. They've been having a lot of communication that comes from each of the seven, okay? Because the way they created this seven-headed monster
Yes.
is that they've assigned seats to the private sector, to
Yes.
the parties that are linked to PHTK, and
Yes.
before they did that, they split PHTK into several parties, so
Mm-hmm.
that when you do the addition, they would dominate whatever that council is going to be. And they
For the sake of the viewers, Payashtika is the party
of
of
Martelly,
Martelly. Yeah.
which is also the party that Jovenel Moïse came on. So
Yes.
that's the party that the Americans have put in power in Haiti to run
Mm-hmm.
the neo colony for them for the past 10
Mm-hmm.
years,
Mm-hmm.
12 years now. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then they gave a seat to Famila Valas. And of course, Famila Valas being the party that the Americans have always fought, then this gives some kind of legitimacy to their thing, because then if they prepare their sham elections and Lavalas was part of it,
That's part of it. Yeah.
then they can claim it was legit.
Mm-hmm.
And Lavalas, when you hear these guys, they talk about like, well, we don't like the situation, but we cannot stay out of it, because if we stay
Yeah.
out, then we have no voice. Anyway,
Oh,
I
right.
don't agree with that, but anyway,
Right.
that's the game they're playing right now. And
Yes.
the other seat is the folks from the Montana group,
Yes.
that is also a regrouping of many different sectors of the Haitian society. So
Right.
it's a recipe for stalling, because
Yeah.
in any country you
Yes.
would do that. Like, you take folks who were fighting for power all of these decades, and you put them and you say, okay, you guys are all now the president, make it work. It wouldn't
Mhm.
work. Okay.
Well.
It's like,
Right.
after January 6th in Washington, when the followers of Donald Trump stormed the Capitol,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And you had this guy with the helmet, the Viking hat guy, Okay,
Mm,
remember this guy who showed up and he was beating his chest, and then they killed 5 people in the
mhm,
Capitol in the United States. Now, the outcome of that, imagine if it was that, okay, well, the ambassadors of X countries met and they decided that, okay, the president of the time, Joe Biden, has to share power with Trump, and then they're going to create a national unity government
mm,
that has
mm.
equal members from the Democrats and the Republicans, and
Progress, yeah,
add in a couple of
yeah,
people from the Rhinoceros Party or whatever. you know what kind of outcome would that give to the
yeah.
Americans? Okay,
Of course.
but that's what they're doing right now in
Yeah,
Haiti.
right now.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so obviously, what you're going to see happen is that there's going to be a lack of performance on
Mhm.
the part of these folks. But
Absolutely.
also, what they're doing by that is that because it's 7 of them
Mhm.
as a president, and
Mhm.
remember, in Haiti, the president doesn't run the government; it's the prime minister. The
Yes.
president is head of state, so he does
Yes.
all of the symbolic stuff and whatever. But
Mhm.
really, in reality, though, in
Prime Minister.
Haiti, the president used to be the person because he's the one who is elected. But the
Elected.
prime
Yes.
minister now, because he comes straight from the United States,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and
Yes.
these other 7 fools, while they're
Yeah.
fighting each other, he becomes the real
Yes.
power.
Very power. Yeah.
So that's the game
Right.
the Americans are playing. But of course, he's
Okay.
the real power as long as he knows that the white men in Washington are the real power.
Okay. My brother, you've broken it down excellently well so far. I'm gonna put out the call for brothers and sisters to ask questions. Right. So there's two things that are gonna happen here. You can actually ask your question in the chat, or you can sorry, if you ask your question in the chat, please at gotkushTV, please at gotkushTV, and I will bring your question to brother Jafrikayiti. You don't actually have to ask questions. We are accepting comments as well, so feel free to make a comment and brother Jafrikayiti will respond to your comment. Please at gotkushTV if you're doing so. Please at gotkushTV if you want your comment or your question to be read out. And we are also going to invite you to join the conversation if you want to come live on the panel to interact with our brother. I'm sharing the link in the chat now, so you can click the link and come and interact with brother Jafrikayiti. Please feel free to do so. Ask a question, make a comment, have him respond to your question. I'm going to be starring comments that at gotkushTV so I can bring them to our brother, and we will take it from there. Brother Jafrikayiti, though, but whilst brothers and sisters are sending in their questions and preparing to come live to interact with you, is it valuable at all for crazy revolutionary minded Africans to be critiquing these dynamics, because we don't have the resources, necessarily to put forward an action anything different, right? Like, is it just us screaming into the wilderness, fire on America, fire on Canada, fire on the core group, lightning upon the UN and the IMF and the World Bank, does that have any value, my brother, in this day and time, or are we just basically, you know I don't know, like making random pronouncements that have very little meaning or impact in the real world? I have to ask that question, my brother.
Mm.
It's a difficult one. It's a heart-wrenching one.
I think it is a legitimate, important question, and a one that's in
Yes.
the minds of many people. Uh,
Yes.
to answer that, I will refer to the events that happened on the 23rd of May in Washington, D.C. Yeah,
Mhm,
while William Ruto, the puppet president of Kenya, was meeting with his masters in the White House, there
mhm,
were a few dozens Americans or Africans of various origin, and white Americans demonstrating in the streets in solidarity with the people of Haiti,
mhm,
in a demonstration organized by Komokoda. Our
mhm,
brothers and sisters based in New York, with brother Daoud Andre, who is really, a tireless soldier for the defense of Haiti's dignity and sovereignty.
Mhm.
So why were they doing that? Did they not know that, a few dozen of them demonstrating in the streets of Washington, D.C. was not going to stop Ruto from making deals with his masters in Washington? No.
Yes.
The
Mhm.
thing is, when we are engaged in these struggles, we don't enter these struggles because someone promised to us that it was going to be easy or that
Mm.
victory is going to be attained on date
Mhm.
X, as
Mhm.
long as the following steps are followed. That's not how it's done. Our
Mm.
ancestors were fighting on the shores of Africa. They were
Mhm.
fighting during the trip taking them to the
Mhm.
Americas. They
Mhm.
continued to fight. There were
Mm.
Haitians dying the eve of the final victory
Mhm.
of November 18th, 1803.
Mhm.
Some of them died November 17th. Okay.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
we are in this because it's the right thing to do. And we are also seeing signs that Frankenstein, for all
Mm.
of its pronouncements and pretense of being all powerful, is not.
Mhm.
Like I
Mhm.
said, William
Mhm.
Ruto is in deep trouble right now in Kenya.
Kenya, yeah.
Okay. And
Mhm.
part of it is because when they said that, they're going to give him money so that he can send mercenaries to Haiti,
Mhm.
he thought that
Mhm.
was going to be easy money. But there
Mm.
is a resistance to it,
Mm.
resistance inside of Kenya, resistance all around the world. Okay. And so I think it is important for us to understand, in as much as it is discouraging, it can be demoralizing every time we find that there are sellouts. Like
Mhm.
the other day,
Mhm.
I was in the demonstrations with Palestinian brothers and sisters, and I felt the necessity to apologize to them for these
Mhm.
black fools that they see at the United Nations every time that they're voting something against Palestine, that it's some black American guy or woman. Okay. No, I had to tell them, like these fools
Yes,
don't
yes,
represent us. But
yes, yes, yes.
it's not sufficient to just say they don't represent us. We need to be present on the
Right,
other front also, so
right,
that it's
right, right,
understood that we are not
right,
all fools. And
right.
so, you know, it's important for us to make sure that our voices are heard. And it's also
Mm.
because we can see that um, positive results can be obtained, okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
when we
Mhm.
stand on principle. Look what's happening in
Absolutely.
Niger, what's happening
Mhm.
in Burkina Faso. Like,
Mhm.
I always take this as an example. When Macron, he's very chauvinistic. These white males, when they're so, imbued with their power, they
Yes,
tend to
yes,
be careless and say stupid things. And
yes.
Macron is known to do that all the time. So he went to Africa, to Burkina Faso, and he was in the presence of the previous president of Burkina Faso.
Mhm.
And young people were complaining about the fact that they don't have electricity in their premise, etc.
Mhm.
And they asked him the questions, like what can be done to change the situation. And then he
Mhm.
laughed in their face and said, this is your president, that's who you should be asking this question. Of course,
Right.
humiliating the president in
President,
front
yeah,
of
in the
people.
process, yeah.
And he got
Mhm.
up and left
Mm.
Macron in front of the microphone. I use
Yeah.
this as an example to say that, well, this happened only a few months before a
Yes.
complete reversal of the situation.
That's what.
Now
Yes,
you
yes, yes.
pay Macron to go, do something like that in Burkina Faso, and he would say no, thank you. Okay,
Yes, yes, yes,
now
yes.
in Burkina Faso there's a real leader.
Different thing
Okay,
I go on, yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm trying to say to our brothers and sisters. Do not
Right,
despair when you see
right.
these fools. Like, for instance, today, as we speak, tonight, Al
Yes,
Sharpton, yeah,
yes.
one of those rats in
I
our
meant to come.
community,
I meant to come to that. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Yes. So go ahead. Go ahead. If I
like they're
yeah.
using him because that's what I'm telling you.
Right,
If we are
let's clarify. What exactly did he do and say?
okay,
On yeah.
now he's organizing pastors in New
Mhm.
York and
Mhm.
rabbi and whatever and
Mhm.
imams
Mhm.
to go
Yes.
and pray for Haiti. so that the mission of missionaries can be
Yes.
successful, just like
Yes.
Massa wants. Okay, so
Yes.
now
Yes.
the thing is, a lot of us cannot pass the image that, well, this is a black guy who is betraying us. No,
Mm.
don't let this discourage you. We always had those fools. Those
Mm-hmm.
fools are insignificant. The
Yes.
only reason that their actions become so visible and impactful is because you are sitting in your house when
Yes.
Komokoda is organizing a demonstration, when God TV is having Sister Ezeli Dantor
Mm-hmm.
organizing something, and then you hiding under your bed.
Mm.
No, if you
Absolutely.
were to rise up, no one would listen to Al Sharpton. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
we
Yes.
always
Yes.
had fools in our communities, and I think black
Yes.
people need to get over this
Yes.
self-flagellation over the fact that we have fools in our community.
Y-
Like, what are we?
It's
We
true.
human
It's
beings,
true.
man. Of course,
It's
we have
true.
fools among us.
It's true.
But
It's true. It's true.
what you need to manage to do is to take the fools out of the pedestals that white
Yes.
supremacy is constantly putting them, so that they
On
can
you.
bring down the whole community, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
now this guy is organizing a prayer meeting tonight, and it's an important thing to observe, because
Mm.
they know one of the weaknesses of Africans in 2024 is
Mm.
that a significant uh, percentage of our people are
Mm-hmm.
still taken into that superstitious belief that they're calling Christianity, where
Mm-hmm.
black people
Mm-hmm.
kneel in front of white power, and
Mm.
convincing
Mm.
themselves that, no, no, they're worshiping, God. No, you're not worshiping God. You're worshiping white people. Okay, and
Mm.
that's
Mm.
why the
Mm.
God is white, and
Yes.
his
Yes.
mother is
Yes.
white, his father is white, all his angels are white, and you want to go in
All right.
heaven with them, you fool.
Right.
So now this is the problem, that they know many of these pastors,
Mm-hmm.
they have sheep. They don't have
Mm-hmm.
human beings with functioning brains in their churches. And so
Yes. Yes.
they are mobilizing them to get people to, at least, if they do not join, but at least they could stop the resistance to what
Mm.
white supremacy is doing to our people. So,
Mm.
pastors, these are very dangerous members of our community these days, because they buy these guys very quickly. Because, as you know, if you want to open a business in the United States, the best business to start is a church. And then very quickly you get a mega church and you make money, and the government helps you to do that. And the reason
Mm.
why the government is helping these fools is because
Mm-hmm.
they know they can call on them whenever they
Mm.
need.
Absolutely. My brother, we've got two questions in the chat, and then I'm going to come to this conversation about the recent meeting at the Caribbean Development Bank, of the Caribbean Development
Yes,
Bank, I should
yes,
say. Yeah,
yes.
let's come to that in a second. Melaman is asking where the Canadian base is located in Jamaica. Are you aware of exactly where it's
No,
located?
I'm not sure.
We'll find that out, Melaman, and get back to you. And I'm not even really going to entertain this next question. He's asking what is his ethnicity, the guest. Brother Jafrikayiti is an African of Haitian extraction. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I could even share my DNA result with you. it's
You know what I'm
it's
saying? You know, it's like,
50% from Nigeria.
yeah.
And no, but that's an important point, because sometimes people, when they look at Haitians, they can be confused, because, like I said, the demographics in Haiti is not exactly the same as, in a place like Jamaica, or in Trinidad, where you have a really, very strong mixity. In
Mm-hmm,
Haiti, even if you see a Haitian who has lighter skin than me,
mm-hmm,
it's more than likely that he is at least 75% African. Okay.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So in Haiti, we are Africans. There's
mm-hmm,
no confusion about it.
mm-hmm,
It's not a very complicated thing. And in fact, this should be an advantage to us, because
mm,
the enemies that the Americans have introduced to Haiti, from Northern Africa, from Egypt, from Lebanon, and all of these places, and that's or from Palestine, stolen Palestine. with that fool Gilbert Bijot and others,
Mhm.
they are evidently not of African origin.
Absolutely.
And it's because of white supremacy that the Americans and the white supremacist forces chose these to be their allies in order to keep the black population subdued.
Absolutely, which relates to our next question. The richest person in Haiti is a white Jewish man. How did that happen? And can the guest explain?
Well, it happened.
We've kind of been explaining that, but yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
but it's
Yeah.
an important thing because really it's not just the richest. I would guess the second, the third, and the fourth richest are also white or
Yeah,
Arabic
Arabic. Yeah,
Haitians. Okay.
yeah.
Um, Now, when the revolution took place in Haiti, we need to understand that it wasn't very simple thing where the Africans rose up and they chased the whites. No,
Hmm.
the way they organized the plantation system in the Caribbean is
Hmm.
that the only thing that was sacred was whiteness.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
the only thing that the rule was that a white person could not be enslaved.
Hmm.
Everybody else could be enslaved by everybody else.
Hmm.
Okay, and so this created a situation where a lot of Africans participated in the crime.
Hmm.
Okay, some of them owning slaves in the Caribbean and in the Americas, and that was like the controversy. If you watch 12 Years a Slave, you see what happened in New Orleans and all of these places.
Yeah.
So when the revolution was taking place in Haiti, not everybody embraced Dessalines' vision
Hmm.
of every human being is a human being and complete equality.
Hmm. Hmm.
They accepted it because of the necessity, because the Africans were 450,000 Africans, and the mixed group was about 25 or 30,000.
Hmm.
And then, about 20 or 25,000 whites. So,
Hmm.
because of that demographic reality, the Europeans always needed to count on what they call the anciens libres, or the blacks who were freed long time ago, several generations ago, who did not identify with all the other Africans, and the mixed race or whatever that did not identify with the other. And so at the end of the revolution, very quickly after the assassination of Dessalines, when
Hmm.
you had those two mulatto leaders, I apologize for the use of that ridiculous term, but that's what they
Of
called
course.
themselves at the time, Pétion
Hmm.
and Boyer. They
Hmm.
did the same thing that the leaders of rest of Latin America did. They created mulatto dictatorships. That is, the folks who were mixed with the Spanish, and they take over territories and they
Hmm.
maintain slavery in the rest of
Hmm.
the Americas. In Haiti, of course, they could not point blank say that they're going to come back with slavery, but
Hmm.
they maintain the black population in extreme poverty,
Yes.
in the countryside, and
Hmm.
they started to allow the French, the Americans, the Germans to come back to Haiti. Okay,
Hmm.
and so the Americans, when they started to have conflict with the Germans,
Hmm.
okay, and they wanted to counter the German influence in Haiti, because the Germans were because some of them were on the island even during the time of revolution, and some of them survived because they sided with the Africans, okay,
Hmm.
or some of them it's through mixed relationship between the Africans and the Germans, but the
Yes.
Americans wanted to displace them, and in order
Hmm.
to displace them, they introduced the folks from what they are calling the Middle East, and that's
Yes.
where people like Bijo's father,
Hmm.
Apeds,
Hmm.
and the Brunts, the Madsens, that's how
Hmm.
they came to
Yeah.
Haiti
Hmm.
with the backing of the Americans, and
Yes.
they chased out the Germans,
Hmm.
and also there started to be conflicts between them and the remnants of other mulattoes or mixed race
Mhm.
Haitians who were part of the so-called elite,
It's, yeah.
etc. But
Mhm.
you have to understand, when the Americans invaded Haiti in 1915,
Mm.
their vision was clear that
Mhm.
the racial hierarchy is what they want to reestablish. And
Yes.
so if you look at la Gendarmerie d'Haïti, what they were calling the armed forces of Haiti, that
Mm-hmm.
the Americans created in 1915,
Mm-hmm.
all of the officers are white.
Right. Right.
They were initially white Americans, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next layer was all mulatto,
Mm-hmm.
and the street soldiers were
Yep.
Africans.
Yep.
And it was kept like that for several
Yep.
years. And
Absolutely.
so, whereas in the Haitian community, we kept with the propaganda talking about the first Black Republic and that Haiti is revolutionary, blah blah blah. We were, riding on the coattails of the true revolutionaries who did
Yes.
chase out the
Mm-hmm.
European
Yes.
slavers. But in
Mm-hmm.
reality, drastically, our country was being transformed into a white supremacist
Yes.
environment, what I
Neo-colony.
call a
Mm-hmm.
neo-colony, but it was, you know, an anti-black republic.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
like I
Yes. Mm-hmm.
said, the
Mm-hmm.
language of the
Yes.
republic is French
Yes. 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 Yes.
when the
Right.
people function
Don't
in
speak it.
Creole.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
the
Mm-hmm.
religion of the republic is Catholic
Yes. Yes.
when no one is really Catholic in Haiti.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
so
Yes.
that's the thing, and
Yes.
unfortunately, um, many Haitians prefer to lie about this
Yeah.
rather than face the fact that no, this is
Yeah.
not the country this
Ancestors
Alim
fought for.
created, and we
Yes.
need to
Yes.
fight to win it back.
We're doing it back. I absolutely agree with you, my brother. It's also a lesson for us who have a Negro mentality, Africans who have a Negro mentality because they think that they have some kind of claim to be close to white people and whiteness and this white group, that they're gonna in the final analysis they're gonna necessarily be treated any differently than the rest of us. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can stay there with your delusions of grandeur if you so wish. But yeah, history.
But it's also sad, brother, because when I do the genealogy work and I look at the fact that like I have cousins all over the Caribbean,
Mm-hmm,
Jamaica, Trinidad, the Bahamas. Like
mm-hmm,
we are really one people.
mm-hmm,
And we need to understand that just like our Dominican brothers and sisters who are lying to themselves saying that no, slavery was different on our side of the island, the Spanish were mixing with blah blah bullshit, man.
nonsense,
Like
nonsense.
the Europeans did the same thing everywhere, man. Rape,
Everywhere.
kill,
Yes, yes.
plunder, murder, that's what they did. Okay.
But my brother, what it is, right, is that even though we know that, it's an interesting thing because sometimes it's lineage and sometimes it's ideology, but and I think sometimes it's fair, but we have a lot of people, my brother. Like, this is why conversations such as this are important. And you made that point in terms of what our ancestors fought for and the fact that if they didn't fight for it, we don't know when the tide is going to change, right? We have to just have faith in what we're doing. But it's so much easier to ally with white power in the current circumstance.
Of course,
and so,
of course.
So even when we're not dealing with the elites, but we have a subject like this, and there are, like you mentioning, on different levels. Yeah, you talk about the what's the word? Elected officials in America stand with white power, but even below that, right? The propaganda of the white man is so vociferous that many will attack a conversation such as this, whereby we're trying to give our people different information in the interest of the masses of our people in Ayiti. And we're so wrapped up in identifying with their systems and their ideologies that we will attack our own for simply trying to educate our people. It's an amazing dynamic that we have to overcome.
It's a lack of self-confidence, and
right.
and that's why there's lots of work ahead of us, because
Yes.
we are not powerless as we have been told.
Yes.
We are very powerful people when we are aware of who we really are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My brother, let's get to this issue of the Caribbean Development Bank and the selloutery uh, that was going on
I like
over
that
this.
word.
Yeah, mass selloutery, and I agree with you. Sometimes we just got to accept that there's sellouts, buffoons, and stool pigeons among us. It's just unfortunate that the stool pigeons are allowed to be bossy because they're backed up by unlimited resources of white power. So they're allowed to act like they have respectability among us. And I look forward to the day when they all run away in disgrace. But that's not today, right? Let's just deal with I'm sorry, I'm just sick of these anyway. let's let's deal with the Caribbean Development Bank. My brother, you were able to watch the session yesterday.
Yes.
That took place. It's directly in relation to Ayiti. I'm not gonna just give me your thoughts on what you was able to watch and listen to.
Yeah, well, like I said, the first thing that struck me in that meeting is the scarcity of Haitian voices
Right.
in a discussion that claims to be talking about, how to help resolve the situation in Haiti. I believe there was Professor Samuel Pierre, who is a well-respected scholar who
Yeah.
lives in Canada and is very involved in actual work in Haiti,
Yeah. Yeah.
and another person who spoke also,
Yeah.
who's part of the current puppet government. And that's it.
Right.
Everybody else was non-Haitian, and that meeting took place in Canada, and
Canada.
it's a Canadian woman who started the speech about it. And
Mm.
I could count the number of lies that I heard in that first speech alone to make anybody's uh, uh,
Absolutely.
uh, uh, boil and turn over. Like, I worked in government for over 30 years. Okay,
Hmm.
so, and I was at a level where of what they call a senior bureaucrat for a number
Hmm.
of years.
Hmm.
So every time I hear people say that the government of Canada has pledged X millions of dollars for Haiti, I know it's bullshit, 100% bullshit. Okay, and it's not just the government of Canada, whether it is the government of Barbados or
Yeah.
Jamaica or whatever, because that's what politicians do. They take a number and they re-announce the same thing like 6,000 times.
Hmm.
Okay, and
Hmm.
the thing is, most of the time, no one is there, especially the folks that are calling themselves journalists, to ask,
Mm.
okay, how exactly was this money spent? On what?
Right.
Because
Right.
it's not
Right.
an amount of money that I care about, it's what it's
Hmm.
doing. Because in
Hmm.
fact, we know that when they invaded Haiti in
Hmm.
2004 to kidnap the president and topple the government, they called that aid to Haiti.
Hmm.
So when they're announcing millions of dollars, that's
Right.
what the millions of dollars is doing.
Doing. Hmm.
So we cannot sit at these meetings, and of course
Hmm.
you saw that meeting of the Caribbean Development Bank, and I
Hmm.
used to go to these meetings, so I know
Yes.
exactly what kind of meetings these are. And
Yeah.
everybody's sitting there with their ties and their suits, and they're making
Right.
speeches, and it's all
Right.
the buzzwords,
Hmm.
stakeholder, Haitian led, all kinds of bullshit, man. That I'm so glad that I don't need to rely on that for my paycheck anymore. But like
Anymore.
I
Right.
really felt sorry for some of the folks who were sitting in that room. Okay?
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yes. Yes.
it's not that you're dealing with folks who are not intelligent. These are all
Right.
intelligent people.
People. Mm.
Okay? And so
Yes.
what made you know my blood turn is the fact that, let's take the example of the one brother that I know who was part of that meeting, Samuel Pierre,
Yeah.
who is a computer science expert. Like, the man is brilliant. Okay, he's
Yeah.
very highly respected guy.
Yeah.
The Where I used to work, which is the funding agency that funds universities in Canada, I used to
Mm.
have some conversations with him, and I know the dedication of this man. He's not just an academic.
No.
The
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
he has gone back to Haiti.
Right.
He participated in the higher education system, started a
Yeah.
program that
Yeah.
is, doing wonders. So
Mm.
if there was, a real commitment to
Yes.
helping. You see, you could see that part of his presentation where he was talking about some of the topics of priority for Haiti felt like,
Yes.
well, this has nothing to do with the rest of the
The
meeting.
rest of the exactly. I thought the exact same thing.
No, man, you didn't see anything wrong. We didn't talk about
Yeah.
that, did we?
Yeah. No, we didn't.
Okay.
I thought
So,
the exact same thing. Yeah.
like, I know, for
Yeah.
instance, like I've not spoken to Brother Samuel Pierre, and I hope nothing that I say here is going to get him in trouble. But I
Probably
felt
right.
sorry for him
Yes.
because
Yes.
this is the history of Haiti. We
Yes.
have brilliant minds like that
Yes.
all
Yes.
around the world, including
Yes.
inside of Haiti,
Yes.
okay,
Yes. Yes.
who could
Yes.
help us solve the agricultural problem, who
Probably
could help us
tomorrow.
solve the water problem,
Right.
all of the
Right.
problems that we have.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
But what's
Hmm.
happening is that they're making people like Samuel Pierre waste his time
Yes.
sitting in meetings like that with fools that know absolutely nothing about what they're
Nothing.
talking about.
Yeah. It's so
Okay.
true.
They
It's
know they're
absolutely.
wasting time, but that's what
Yeah.
their mission is to,
Yes. Yes.
to humiliate Haitians and waste
Yes.
our time in
Right.
foolishness. Now, one stats that came out of that meeting that I think is important for people to keep in mind. Okay, like
Hmm.
I think it was Brother David Commission
Hmm.
who mentioned this, or maybe it was another speaker, that Haiti provides 11 of the 18 million
Hmm.
people of the
Population.
Caribbean.
Hmm.
That's the population of the Caribbean. Now,
Yes.
imagine a different mentality. Because right
Yeah.
now, when people hear that there are 11 million Haitians out of 18 million people in the Caribbean,
Hmm.
what comes to their mind is fear. Oh, you mean
Hmm.
there are 11 million of them,
Mm,
coming to Jamaica, Bahamas, etc.
mm,
And you see, that's a white mentality.
mm,
We need to
mm,
stop thinking about ourselves as something to
mm,
fear.
mm,
That's
mm, mm,
11 million brains,
mm.
11 million human brains. That means
Yeah.
that thing they have in their head is more powerful than the most powerful computer on earth.
To be fair though, brother Jafrikayiti, I think the context of brother David's comment was he couched it, and if I'm to paraphrase him, that Haiti basically is, I don't know if he said the secret, but worse to that effect, to the economic development of the Caribbean, and he was using the population numbers
Oh,
as an
yo, yo.
example.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I don't
Yeah.
mean to
Yeah.
say that
Yeah.
there's anything that he said that was wrong. No, in fact,
Right. Yeah.
Brother David Commission spoke, well in that meeting.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
No, but what I meant though is that in terms of when we look at the policies of, let's say,
Yes.
the Bahamas and others,
Yeah. Yeah.
when they're
Yeah. Yeah.
talking about, the demographics of the Caribbean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
seldom presented as a
Yes,
positive.
in that way, yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with you,
because imagine.
we've yet to really delve into. Sorry, my brother,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but just to make this point, we're yet to properly delve into in our series the issue of Haiti migration, and I'm
Uh-huh.
hoping to be able to do that soon. But
Yeah.
that the migration of our Haitian brothers and sisters are in the region is a significant issue, and the treatment of our IT brothers and sisters who migrate to other nations in the region is a significant issue and dynamic here that we need to delve into in more detail. But go ahead, my
Yeah,
brother.
but what I'm proposing though is that we dare shift the paradigm, okay?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
now start thinking, okay, Jamaica is right beside us in
Yes.
Haiti.
Hmm.
Uh, and Jamaica has the benefit of having 11 million brothers and sisters right, like a
Absolutely.
boat ride from
Hmm.
them. That is a
Absolutely.
market
Absolutely.
where Jamaican products can be sold
Absolutely.
to Haitians. Okay,
Absolutely.
imagine Haitians spend most of their money in
Hmm.
education, educating our children. Like the Haitian can be as impoverished as you can imagine. They will
Yeah.
spend anything that they have so that their child can go and have a higher education. Imagine
Hmm.
if the University of the West Indies works with Brother Samuel Pierre and his grand projects that are happening in different parts of Haiti, with the
Hmm.
university that President Aristide is leading in Unifa and others. Imagine the benefit for the University of West Indies, whether in Jamaica and Barbados, by having Haitian students go there, and and
Study,
and
yeah.
and and them also having access to the Haitian market. We need to imagine
Sorry,
a
my brother.
time.
You know what? And I'm gonna go even further than that, just to add to what you just said there, because Haiti is not just a market to sell to. Haiti is a market to produce in. Yeah,
Exactly.
that the population in, and a lot of problems will be solved if we have people who are working on behalf of the people, as opposed to Haitians making baseballs for America, right?
Exactly.
Just what I'm saying, and getting paid pittance, yeah, to do so, right? As opposed to the IMF and the World Bank and other American corporations depressing the agricultural sector in Haiti.
Yeah.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? If we're able to invest in ourselves and each other, there is so much productive value that we can produce for each other if we think in those terms. But my brothers, and I don't want to cut you, but one of the word that was not spoken, well, there are many words that weren't spoken, yeah, at that meeting, but it's impossible, in my humble estimation, to discuss the economy of Haiti without discussing neocolonialism. It doesn't make any sense, because that is the context in which the IT economy exists.
That's right.
Yes. And so it's a folly for us to discuss the Haiti economy as though it just happened. Right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Like I
Right?
said, like I said, brother, there's nothing serious that is done in Haiti that is not done in Creole.
In
Okay.
Creole.
In what
Yeah.
language was this meeting taking
They're
place?
speaking French
Okay.
and English.
All of
Yes.
these documents that they were quoting were
Yes.
all documents that are produced. And I worked in the Ministry of Environment in Haiti in 97, 98. And I can tell you, I saw what the millions of dollars that are circulating in Haiti do, okay, inside of government. They are
Mm-hmm.
producing papers that are worth nothing. Okay, a
Mm-hmm.
minister hired me as a consultant, the Minister of Environment, and he gave me
Mm-hmm.
a brick, a document thick like this,
Mm-hmm.
to review for him. And he said to me
Mm-hmm.
that, okay, this is a consultant who gave me this report. Go home with it over the weekend and tell me when you come back on Monday what you think about it. And I told him, I read the report. It lists all of what is wrong with regards to the environment in Haiti. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I was disappointed because I was hoping in a chapter dedicated to recommendations and conclusions that I would see some new ideas of what to do, and there's nothing. It's all about
Mm-hmm.
what the expression in this parlance is état des lieux, like basically you're doing an estimate of the problem, but
Mm-hmm.
that problem has been studied by the World Bank, by the IMF, by everybody. So what
Yeah.
happens is that e- each ministry in Haiti, and that is back in 1997, okay,
Mm-hmm.
1998,
Mm-hmm.
the Canadian aid agency in Haiti, the French aid agency in Haiti, the US aid agency in Haiti, the European Union agency in Haiti, they all
Mm-hmm.
have an office that is connected to a Haitian ministry. And that
Yes.
office is supposed to be helping that ministry. Well, guess
Yes.
what? The
Mm-hmm.
budget of that office
Mm-hmm.
always has a budget that is 6, 7 times bigger than
Mm,
the budget of the ministry. So the
mm,
minister, when he told me
mm,
that I am the third person who told him that this report written by the consultant is worthless,
mm,
but I said to him, well, then, you fire the fool. He said, well, I
mm,
can't. I said, well, why not? You're the minister.
mm.
He said, well, listen, this guy works for the agency that is supposed to be
Right,
helping the ministry.
right,
I
right.
can't fire him because his pay comes from the government of
Textbook
Canada.
definition. Textbook definition of what neocolonialism is.
Okay.
Textbook.
So this
Yeah.
is not a government. This is not
Yes.
our country. That's why
Yes.
we need to focus on liberation, because
That's
we are wasting time. We're wasting money. We're wasting brain power. We're
yeah.
wasting time that we don't have. And they don't
Yeah.
care if we keep it like that
Of
for
course not. Yeah.
centuries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the people dying is not them, it's us.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
us, filling the
Yes.
bottom of the Atlantic Ocean,
Yes.
when we have a paradise that
Yes.
we could all live in. So
Yes.
when we in the Caribbean are thinking about ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's difficult because they create. I'll take an analogy, okay, because I grew up with family members who are Seventh-day Adventists, and I
Mm.
used to always laugh at the fact that these fools would go to church any day of the week, okay, because the church organizes their lives. Okay,
Yes.
they
Yes. Yes.
create programs, youth program,
Yes.
elder soul,
Yes.
because the pastor wants to have a captive
Yes. Yes.
population. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's what they do with us. So you will
Mm.
hear that this Haitian minister is traveling to Geneva on
Mm-hmm.
a meeting where they're discussing nuclear weapon proliferation. What?
Mm.
You're the minister of a government of what country? Haiti?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Right. Right.
And you're going to discuss nuclear proliferation? But they don't care about that. You're just
Yeah.
there to
Yeah. Yeah.
waste your time. And
Absolutely.
you will hear now the buzzword,
Mm.
and I know Mia Motley is a proponent of this thing, always talking
Yeah.
about climate change.
Climate change.
You
Yes.
know
Yes.
what?
Yes.
These people, they laugh when we talk
Yes.
about climate change. Okay,
Absolutely.
they know they're the
Absolutely.
ones who've messed up the climate and
Absolutely.
all of that, and
Absolutely.
they don't
Absolutely.
care that
You don't care. Absolutely.
the Caribbean is going to be
Yeah.
engulfed and whatever, and so
Yeah.
they create all kinds of fake programs under the umbrella
Yes.
of climate change, uh,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
or and when they're tired of that, they come with a feminist foreign policy. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
so now
Yeah.
they're gonna come and tell us how to treat women in our countries. It's like, man, these people have no shame, man.
Yes. Yes. None whatsoever, my brother. And come back to this point that I made, because when the the terms that you use to frame the conversation ultimately define the policies that you're going to use to solve the problem.
Exactly.
And the lack of conversation about neocolonialism means that you can import and use the same people who are responsible for imposing the neocolonial reality as though they're going to now become part of the solution.
That's right.
Yeah. And so we see again that all of the government appointees are connected to the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and related institutions. Yeah.
That's right.
And these are the institutions that have captured the state in Haiti, that have captured the economy in Haiti, and are dictating the policy. This idea that Haiti has an unstable political and economic system. No, Haiti has a neo-colonial political and economic system, and the neo-colonial political and economic system produces instability.
That's right.
That is the problem. Yeah.
That's right.
So we're not dealing with people that don't know how to govern. We are dealing with people that are being governed by other people. That is what is happening.
That's right.
And so in order to solve the problem, we have to relinquish and negate the relationship between the Haitian oligarchy, the Haitian elite, and the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. We have to negate, or at least radically change the conditions of the relationship between the Haiti government and its economic system, and the American Development Bank and the Inter-American what's it, nuts it, and all them kind of thing. That is the conversation that they're not going to have at the Caribbean Development Bank.
No, they cannot. They cannot, because that's not how their funding system operates. Because otherwise, this meeting was taking place in Canada. Why? Right? Just like the meeting, just like the meeting that took place in Jamaica, and you hear that Canada and the United States was funding the traveling of folks who left from Haiti to go to Jamaica. So we have to come out of this parasitic, dependent type of mentalities, and that's why President Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso, he said, I know it's going to cause some of you to lose your jobs in Burkina Faso because you worked in that system, but we don't want aid from friends anymore. Stay away with your money. Okay?
And that's going to cause some difficulty as well. But the reality is, my brother, to make this broader for the Caribbean for a second and allow you to finish here. The reason why the rest of the region is going to be complicit in not having the neocolonialism conversation about when it relates to Haiti is because if you raise it in relation to Haiti, you can't raise it in relation to Haiti in isolation.
That's right.
So if you go there as a Jamaican and speak about neocolonialism in relation to Haiti, you have to then confront neocolonialism in relation to Jamaica. The
That's
same
right.
for Antigua. The same for the Bahamas. The
Yep.
same for Barbados and Guyana.
Yep.
And all of these places that the Caribbean and CARICOM is a neocolonial formation.
Yep.
And what it is that Haiti exposes that reality more than any of the other nations on an explicit level. So you have to keep that conversation hush. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that reminds me of my sentence. You know, Haiti is a mirror that disturbs because it refuses to lie. Right?
Yes.
Like when they
Yes.
look at their face in
Yes.
Haiti, they see the
Yes.
truth, and they
They see
don't
the
like
truth.
that truth. They
Yes.
don't like
Yes.
that reflection. No, so
Yes.
no, it's not as if we are living different realities.
Yes.
And when you hear, black fools on the eastern part of the island, waving the Dominican flag and saying that we're better off than the Africans on the western side. I mean, it's so foolish.
Absolutely.
The reality is all of us in the Caribbean are living in potentially paradisiac territories. Okay, but
Mhm.
our people are not living lives that are fulfilled as the
Absolutely.
smart and hardworking individuals that we are.
Mhm.
And the discussion of neo-colonial violence,
Mhm.
okay, is something that
That's what it is.
we need to have, not at the level only of intellectuals meeting and having discussions on reparations. And as that's where I've met Dr. David Commission,
Mhm.
and I understand that when he goes into government, that's a different space, and everybody is within a straight jacket and they have to talk the stakeholder and whatever language bullshit. But I think there comes a time African people have to take our independence, and
Yeah.
I remember the last time your brother was saying that he was no fan of Ralph Gonsalves,
Yes.
but,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I think that we need to start having meetings where we say, okay, you know what, the language of this meeting is going to be Jamaican patois. We have to find
Absolutely.
we're gonna have to find a way to get these bald heads out of our discussions. Okay, if we
Absolutely.
cannot do it on the straight basis and saying that none of them are allowed,
And
let's just do it by the language.
to add to your point, and all translations shall be exclusively in Haitian Creole.
you know
Yeah.
because we need space.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
we are denied the opportunity to have our conversations,
Of
and
course.
and and they're always in our face. That's
Of course.
and when you look at the Haitian Revolution,
Yes.
that's what Dessalines came to as a conclusion.
Understand. Yes.
When he
Yes.
took the red, blue, and white flag of
Yes.
France, he
Yes.
said, you know what? The only way we're going to have peace in this
Yes.
land is to tore off the
Yes.
white.
Separate.
Yeah,
Separate.
because
Yes. Yes.
they cannot accept
Yes.
other people's humanity. They just,
Yes.
that's not
Yes.
their behavior. And
Yes.
so when people are not civilized, you have to kick them
Mhm.
out. And in the
Absolutely.
case of the neo-colonial reality that we're living in the Caribbean, people may think that people are exaggerating when they say that. We will
Mhm.
not know peace until
Mm.
we kick them out.
Mm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's essential, my brother. Somebody needs to say it. And we need to keep saying it until enough of us understand it to move on it. My brother, we're going to come to the conclusion of our conversation. I want to ask you, because we've engaged in a lot of critique today. What would your prescriptions be? What do we need to be doing as Ayisyen people, as African people around the world? What would you like to see in place in Haiti? You can feel free to answer this from any direction that you so fit see fit. But let's end on something that we think that we should be doing. What should we be doing beyond what we are doing now, which is engaging in the analysis, which is important. But what do you
Mhm.
think that we should be doing right now, my brother?
Yeah, I think conversations are important, but yeah, conversations face to face, nothing can beat that. I've
Mm-hmm.
heard it from so many folks
Mm-hmm.
who give testimony that, wow, what they thought about Haiti is completely different than what they found in
Mm-hmm.
Haiti when they bought a plane ticket and went to the
To
countryside
the country,
and
yes.
met people and understood
Right.
exactly, what
Right.
is going on. And
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying here about Haiti is valid for all Africans everywhere. We
Mm.
need to travel, folks. We need to go and meet each other where we are.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We need to touch each other's hands. We cannot rely on the TV screen of our
Yeah.
enemy to tell us, what's going on in Burkina Faso, what's going on in Jamaica and Ghana, whatever. We need to. I know it's not accessible to everyone. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's all the more important than for those of us who can, okay, to not only go but serve
Mm-hmm.
as a bridge so that we can get to know each other better. Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
this is one thing, but I think the elites have a responsibility to stop living in fear of whiteness. Okay. We
Mm-hmm.
gotta shake that fear, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These people are not as fragile as we're pretending that they are, so that we're always watching our mouths, being
Yeah.
careful about all kinds of
Yeah.
bullshit. Okay, our
Mm-hmm.
ancestors survived. Some
Mm-hmm.
of them had to
Mm-hmm.
develop, code language and whatever just to survive, because the enemy is vicious and was killing them. But right
Mm-hmm.
now, we are the ones who are doing the self censorship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when we go to these time wasting meetings that are organized by the Canadians, the Americans, etc., we need to
Mm-hmm.
have the ability to say no, but
Yes.
organize a meeting
Right.
that the university in Jamaica takes the initiative and fund it to go to
Mm-hmm.
Haiti on your own with no white men present.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have our
Mm-hmm.
own conversations. I think
Mm-hmm.
that is crucial, because these are not serious conversations. When
Yes.
people from the Caribbean are coming here to Ottawa, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're feeding you, they're giving you everything, and then you're pretending to be having conversations.
Absolutely.
You're not talking real stuff. Um,
Absolutely.
so, anyways, uh, I know it's difficult for us when we're facing um, those crises, and we're looking for prescription of a quick fix. There's no quick fix. We
There's
are
no quick fix.
we are in struggle. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
it's not because our ancestors did not wish freedom that it
Mm-hmm.
took more than 400 years of
Mm.
struggle before they
Yeah.
managed to carve out a little
Yeah.
piece of freedom for them. And you see it to this day. We're fighting. We're
Yeah.
struggling in the United States. We're struggling
Yes.
everywhere we are.
Yes.
Okay. However, we also are very powerful, because
Mm-hmm.
whether it is, you look at the French soccer team that's
Mm-hmm.
playing in the Euro today. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now you can refer to the white guy in the French team, the okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, that's a game, but come to think about how many of us are in their armies. Okay, but
Yes.
it means nothing if all
Mm-hmm.
of them are Colin Powells.
Mm-hmm.
But I dare dream that not all of them are Colin
Colin
Powells
Powell.
or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Langleys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we saw what happened when they sent Frederick Douglass to Haiti to help them
Mm.
steal Mole Saint Nicolas, and
Yes.
Frederick Douglass resisted. So
Yes.
that means every now and again, someone among us
Mm-hmm.
inside of their
Mm-hmm.
war machine is going to
Mm-hmm.
come to their senses
Yeah.
and remember who we really are.
Here we are. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But we
Mm-hmm.
cannot rely on that
And that,
alone. We need to think
sir.
about it also as everyday people, all of
Yes.
us who are living in North America, in Europe, etc., that we have a responsibility to our people to not just be in the big house of massa. Okay,
Mm.
to remember that, okay, we got to take whatever we can from here to take humanity on a path of peace. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because if we leave it up to them, they don't know any other way. The only
Yes,
way
sir.
they know is war. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
why you see now all of their conversations is about, okay, uh, uh, the Chinese are getting ahead. We need to strike a war right away. Like their
Hmm.
brains not function on any other level.
Absolutely.
They don't think
Absolutely.
that, okay, well, the Chinese for the past few decades have been investing in higher education. So
Mm.
they're making invention after invention. They have floating trains and stuff like that. Why
Mm.
are you envious of them? Why don't you invest in
Mm.
higher education to compete with the Chinese instead? No,
Mm.
they want to start a war. But the war that they're starting, they don't want to send their own children to fight. They want to
No,
send black and Latinos to the front line.
absolutely.
Well, we need
Absolutely.
to deny them that opportunity.
That opportunity. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My brother Jafrikayiti, you have blessed us with insight, analysis, information, knowledge. It's been an amazing conversation that we've had. Brothers and sisters, if you've appreciated Brother Jafrik IT this evening, please give me some Black Power fists in the chat. Give me the Black Power fist in the chat, brothers and sisters, to show your appreciation for Brother Jafrik IT. And whilst those Black Power fists are coming in, my brother, if you just let brothers and sisters know where they can keep in touch with you, where they can find you anywhere, on in this digital space.
Yes, so if they see my name written on the screen, that's my website, jafrikayiti.com, JAFRIKAYITI.com. And that's the name I also use on Facebook and other social media. And I do have some material in English, some in Haitian Creole, and also a few in French. And yes, and I produce some Haitian history books in Creole, in Haitian Creole. And very soon I will start some language lessons. So, folks,
Oh,
yes,
beautiful.
I will have some of them that
Beautiful.
are geared to English speaking
Yes.
folks to teach them Haitian Creole. So
Yes.
this will start very soon. And brother, I wanted to ask you, what does uh, Kibunga mean?
Kimbunga, it means whirlwind in Kiswahili.
Whirlwind. Okay, in
Whirlwind.
Kiswahili. Okay,
Yeah.
whirlwind.
And
Okay.
so we're inspired by the pronouncements of Papa Marcos Mosiah Garvey,
All
where he says,
right.
"Look for me in the whirlwind, look for me in
Yes.
the storm." So that is the energy that we're coming with as we
Yes.
evolve this particular media platform to be a formidable propaganda machine for our fight. Yeah, as you
Uh,
were saying earlier,
that's so
So
beautiful, brother, because you are quoting Garvey, you are following Garvey, and
yes,
the
sir.
other day I fell on a letter that Garvey wrote in 1924 to the puppet that the Americans had installed as president of Haiti at the time, Borno. And it
Yes,
was so amazing to see the skill with which Garvey, expressed the fact that he understood that Haiti was occupied, and at the
occupied.
same time he was showing solidarity with the people of Haiti, and and
Haiti.
and
Yes,
and, and promising his commitment to helping the liberation
yes.
of Haiti. That was
What
1924.
in that same year, the Garvey movement, in as a part of the convention in 1924, wrote a letter to the government of Liberia,
Exactly.
warning them
Yeah.
not to allow American
Yes.
companies into the country
Yeah.
because, and what he said was that what they said, when I say he said, what they said as the UNIA
Mhm.
ACO was that basically they're going to try to annex the government as similar white companies did when they entered the nation of Haiti,
That's right.
claiming to assist the people. Yeah.
That's right.
So they understood what was going on at that time, my brother. So
Man, we,
so
we
yeah,
we have all of the guidance that we require, whether it is from Garvey, from Dessalines, from Nana
absolutely,
Santewa, from
absolutely.
Queen Nani. We
Yes.
just need to get back,
Hmm.
to our people, and that's why I keep on insisting on this idea that as soon as possible, we need to transform the churches, take them over and
Yeah.
build centers where we are teaching about our real ancestors. The hell with
Absolutely.
imaginary white Jesus. We like, it's
Absolutely.
so, it hurts me to see that in 2024 we're still talking about such nonsense,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
not
Yes.
consequential, because when you have them being able to mobilize someone like Al Sharpton,
Yes.
and it's only last week I learned that he even admitted that he was a rat for the FBI. Like,
At one point. Yeah.
essentially, yeah, they were using him to spy on the black community in the United States. So
Mm,
obviously, when they are
mm,
investing in these pastors in our
mm,
community,
mm,
it's a
mm,
way
mm.
for them to control our population.
Absolutely.
But the reason why they can do that is because the
Hmm.
so-called intellectuals in our community have not done
Yeah.
the work that is required to take our people away from the worship
Absolutely.
of white Jesus. And
Absolutely.
taking them away from the worship of white Jesus is
Yeah.
to offer them the
Hmm.
opportunity to learn from our real ancestors. Our
Absolutely.
African people in Haiti need to know about Queen Nanny. Uh,
Hmm.
the fact that she was in Jamaica makes no difference.
No
Our
difference. Yeah.
African people or African people wherever we are. And so,
Yeah.
you were talking about what we need to do.
Hmm.
It may sound daunting that, wow, there's so much work ahead of us.
Mm.
Well, we should just celebrate. Look what
Yes.
the
Yeah.
brother just shared with us about what Garvey did. Look how
Yeah.
long Garvey was alive on this planet and how much he
Hmm.
left for us. So don't
Mm.
don't despair, don't waste time,
Yes. Yes.
lamenting about the enormity of the work. Just get to work, and
Get
if
to
you're
work.
already working, let's amplify our work. And I look forward to Kibunga Media.
Yes.
Long live Kibunga Media.
Thank you, my brother. I'm looking forward to them Ayisyen lessons. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
let us know, and we'll definitely be in tune. I'm inspired to try and grasp the. I've been learning bits and pieces here and there over the last few months, and my Ayisyen brothers and sisters have been encouraging me. So I'm kind of inspired to get it. And my brother, we're longing out the conclusion to this show. But there are many grammatical similarities between Jamaican patois and Ayisyen Creole.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and so the more we learn about each other's language, the more we recognize that we are in fact the same people. So
That's right.
so yeah, my brother, feel free to depart when you're ready. But once again, thank you. I'm gonna close out the show now, but thank you for joining us, and know that we'll have you back again, my brother. We must
Aibobo.
stay in touch. Aye bobo, aye bobo, aye bobo. All right, brothers and sisters, we were just speaking to brother Jafrikayiti over there in Quebec. He is an African of Ayisyen extraction and a powerful analyst, as you have just heard. We hope that you have gained something from our conversation. I want to let you know about a couple of things that are taking place, brothers and sisters, as far as gotkushTV, soon to be Kimbunga Media, is concerned. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. First and foremost, in relation to this topic, we will be releasing an interview that we conducted with a sister by the name of Leslie Alexander, who has written a book called Fear of a Black Republic. Yeah, Fear of a Black Republic. And so we're going to be looking into some history of Ayiti. And that interview will be premiered on the 28th of June, 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. EST, brothers and sisters, the 28th of June. So we look forward to you joining us for that. And the 28th of June is a Friday, a Koumba Day, brothers and sisters. So we look forward to you joining us for that. But it's a very, very powerful interview, very informative, yeah. And the reason why it was necessary to do that interview will be explained in the premiere itself. So we encourage you to join us for that premiere, yeah. And especially if you are somebody who is interested in the history of Haiti, particularly in the 1800s, yeah. Do come true for that conversation right there. So, and then on the 11th of July, Elder Cecil Gutsmore is going to be back with us to speak on is revolutionary Pan-Africanism the praxis for African liberation now? Is revolutionary Pan-Africanism the praxis for African liberation now? This conversation will take place on the 11th of July from 7 p.m. British Summer Time. That's UK time, which is 2 p.m. EST. Yeah. So do come true for that as well. When no say on the love Ella Cecil, when Elder Cecil comes through, you know, he always brings the people, and the people are always, you know, well informed and well inspired and well edified by what he has to bring. So we encourage you to come through for Elder Cecil return, yeah, to this institution. We are also in the process of arranging some kind of series of Elder Cecil looking at the Pan-African movement in the UK. Yeah, so do stay tuned for more information on that. Do stay tuned for more information on that. I want to give thanks to all those who have tuned in, you know, your viewing eyes, your listening ears, all those who have commented in the chat, all the silent viewers and listeners, my brothers and sisters, yeah, everybody who shared the link, everybody who's liked the video. If you have not liked the video, please do like the video, and spread this Pan-African Haitian energy around the digital space. But brother Jafrikayiti says something about, you know, us being in the big house. Yeah. The big house as a euphemism for the house of the master, the Bakra, yeah, on the plantation. And it's apparent that many of us are comfortable living in the big house, and it's going to take for us to relinquish ourselves of that comfortability to solve the problems that we need to solve. Yeah. Too many of us as a people are allegiant to the big house. We pledge allegiance to Britain, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, and the United States of America, and the Republic of France, and the Republic of Canada, and so on and so forth. No, sorry, Canada's not a republic. It still has a head of state, which is the monarch of the UK. Yeah. And we promote their interests over and against and above the interests of the masses of our people. And when those of us, you'll always find said individuals around and trying to dampen the voices of those of us who at least try to relinquish ourselves of the fear that is engendered or attempted to be engendered within us by the Bakra. At least enough to speak up and speak truth on behalf of our people. And the propaganda of the enemy is very well resourced. And because the frequency of that propaganda is replicated so often, it sounds logical. And so those who align with that propaganda will often sound more logical because of the frequency with which we've been bombarded with that propaganda than those of us who challenge it. And I want to encourage those of us who have relinquished that ourselves of that fear enough, at least, to challenge it right about now, to keep doing so. Keep fighting the good fight. I also want to thank the naysayers. Yeah. When you're developing a platform such as this, you develop, on the one hand, appreciators. You know, I've heard it described as a fan base. I don't like that terminology, but I'm using it now because on the other side of it, you create what is called an anti fan base. And so we're no different. It's just that a lot of our anti-fan base has come very, very early in our development. We have people that regularly come here just to negate and ridicule and divert and distract us from what we are doing here. We want to thank Uno as well. Yeah. Because if you didn't exist, we wouldn't know that we are doing and saying the right things, brothers and sisters. Yeah. We know that, as Brother Jafrikayiti has said, that we have fools and idiots and sellouts among us. And so we just have to accept that. Yeah, and don't belly it about it. Just know, say, them people that exist. And sometimes those people make it into the government, and sometimes those people make it into the Ministry of Finance, and sometimes those people are, big heads of corporations. Sometimes they're just people that watch shows such as this and comment. Sometimes they're given arms by governments and corporations that represent white power to inflict violence against our people. And so our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to employ all means at our disposal to fight these people and to reduce the impact of their betrayal of our people. We can't stop the fact that we're going to have traitors. What we can do is organize ourselves to negate the impact of their treachery. And that is within all areas of people activity. So it stands for, we're dealing with right now, media, it's propaganda. So as a propaganda institution, it is our purpose to negate the impact of the propaganda of treachery. Yes. Where we are organizing economically, we have to organize to negate the impact of the economics of treachery. Where we are organizing politically, we have to organize to negate the impact of the politics of treachery. And so when we discuss neocolonialism, all of those things and more apply. We are trying to organize ourselves to negate the impact of treachery. Those who willingly and boastfully defend the institutions and acts of our enemies in their attempted destruction of us, hoping to gain a few crumbs from the table of the Bakra, brothers and sisters. So I speak to you in the spirit of Adbaraya Toya and Mama Cecile Fatiman and Makandal and Bookman and Desaline with the understanding that there's no compromise with our freedom and our sovereignty. And with that, I say to you, Tendai Mwali, be thankful unto the Mother, Father, Creative Life Force of the universe. Kudzai Mudzimu Mukuru. We give praises unto our great, 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 great ancestors. Abibi Tumi, Abibi Fahodiye, African power and African liberation for all African people. Vive liberté, abat esclavage. Down with enslavement. Down with neocolonialism, colonialism, and all forms of exploitation in relation to African people. And long live our freedom, our liberation, our sovereignty as a people. Bon combat. May the fight be well, brothers and sisters. Bon combat. May the fight be well. Aibobo, 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 aibobo. Ashe.
New era, new transition. Greetings, this is Shakara, and it's been an honor serving you as director of gotkushTV. Over the past few years, we've brought you the pilot of the Black Root Economic Show, many seasons of Wordsmith, The Insight, and the ever popular Decipher. We have covered community events and even hosted a few of our own, including Blacktricity, as a part of the official Ghana Beyond the Return roster. We also kept you company throughout lockdown with the Quarantine Convo. After a brief hiatus, we came back with our regular weekly interactive live show, Zivanai, keeping you up to date with current events around the black world, from UK to Senegal to Haiti and beyond. It is our aim to continue to develop as a premier black media institution, and for that reason, we have a special announcement. Introducing Kimbunga Media. Between the 10th of June and the 17th of Mosiah, August, we will be transitioning to a new name and institution, Kimbunga Media. In the beautiful Kiswahili language, Kimbunga means whirlwind.
Look for me in a world when a storm. Look for me all around you. For with God's grace, I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa, to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life.
Our name symbolizes our aim to take the media landscape by storm, developing high quality, impactful, geopolitical and cultural content aimed at empowering African people, bringing knowledge, information, inspiration and analysis from an unapologetically Pan-African, universal African nationalist and African-centered perspective. So, what can you expect? We are gradually developing a full spectrum of flagship shows and presenters, but in the immediate right here now, over the next couple years, we have two major aims in bringing you our flagship shows. One, the return of Kush Communiversity, bringing you high-level scholarship in all areas of people activity, featuring luminaries from across the black world. And two, the production of the full first season of the new and improved Ujamaa Black Group Economic Show. While we encourage you to develop and support black businesses, this show aims to raise our awareness of the political economy of today's world and popularize new solution paradigms in political economy among African people. Alongside all this, we will continue to bring you Zivanai, Janeba, the Afrocentric perspective, All Eyes on Africa, Ghana, Democracy Under Fire, the Revolutionary Minds team with that artistic, ancestral energy, and as things grow and develop, there'll be plenty more. We also have plans to host live events and film screenings, so stay tuned for more information on that. So what can you do? Continue to support us by watching, liking, sharing and commenting on our content. Be sure to follow us on all social media, and if you are so moved, join our Patreon community. We'll be sharing flagship shows exclusively with our Patreon community before general release and granting you discounts to events and future screenings. Right now, if you become a Patreon, you will have access to the pilot for the Black Group Economic Show and all installments of last year's Black History Month series, Sankofa, The Future of Black History. At some point, we'll be engaging in community crowdfunding towards the production of the new and improved Ujamaa Black Group Economic Show, complete with offerings and perks for those who choose to invest in us. Look out for the launch, and we thank you in advance for your support. Any questions, feel free to hit us up in the comment section and we'll be sure to address. We look forward to you joining us for this new phase of our development. Stay tuned as we bring you Kimbunga Media.
Black people, we've got to fight. Jean Petro, you see us. Oguo, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Zumbi, you see us. Oh, whoa, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, oh. Black people, we've got to fight. Yes, Santa, why you see us? Oh, whoa, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, oh. Black people, we've got to fight. Bookman, you see us. Oh, whoa, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, oh.
We have to have the courage to construct our own reality. And that's what Garvey was talking about. Because he said he looked around, he didn't see what he thought should be there, and so what did he do? He didn't get depressed about it. He didn't get defeated about it. He said, I'm gonna build the government that we need to have. Ooh. Where do you get that kind of boldness from? So we gotta go all the way back to Garvey, who said he would come again. He said he would be here with us, no matter how long it took. And I'm telling you that the way he comes back is in our work. Not honoring him in words, pomp, and all of that stuff, but honoring him through doing what he did. How many of us have the courage to do that? The man took on the world for us and in our name. And then we come to Solidarité. And in this presentation of the paradigm, I'm going to make this like what it is we want to reach. So Solidarité is translated clear word in Dogana language. And I use it to mean that here we gain understanding. This is sight with understanding. And it is seeing beyond what just we think we see with this physical thing. It's seeing beyond that. And so we gain vision, because that's what vision is. With vision, you've got to be able to use the imagination informed by the African spirit. And Brother Amos, who I work very closely with, was a good friend of mine. He taught me, and he would talk about imagination. Image a nation. Do you see? But that's got to be part of vision. To be a visionary, you got to see beyond this box here. You got to see beyond the ma'afa. You got to see what is it that our people rightfully should have, and that's what Garvey did. Garvey had a vision.